Right, there's only nearly a clock when you start. You can fucking catch up.
But what if I don't?
Well, I'm going to start with you anyway. So when we left, Kian had, after telling everyone else not to rummage through the captain's things, he rummaged through the captain's files and stole the letter. He then wandered off, with some insistence on my part, to the radio room where he heard the snippet. And then he managed to pass his test, so he didn't completely break down and go crazy. Gloria, meanwhile, had retired to her cabin, and she sits down and writes a letter. And while she's doing that, Adam, you had chased after Marcel, and you had ran to the engine room.
Yeah.
So I had
stuff to kill you. Uh-huh.
And if you're going to be in the engine room, I should have the engine noises. Yeah, so you chase after Marcel into the engine room. There are the coalers, and they're in there shoveling coal into the engine. There's a couple of like engineer guys pottering about, make sure everything's running. Mostly they're kind of standing around smoking though. And as you run into this like hot, smoky room, you're probably wondering how these guys can possibly smoke in this environment, which is already like causing your lungs to kind of burn a little bit. They'll be like covered in soot. One guy's like shoveling the coal, the other's like stoking the fire and checking the pressure and stuff like that for the engine. And the sounds of the engine kind of running over are all around you. Marcel is ahead of you, and he's getting increasingly more sort of frantic and panicked as he like aimlessly sort of like runs around and looks behind things that obviously no one's going to be behind, and just shouting, Matthew, where are you? Left and right, going up and down the engine room, and he gets to the far end of the engine room and he like throws open the door and runs into the next compartment. The engine guys are just sort of staring at him as he walks by and looking at you with a sort of questioning look.
While keeping my cadence, I slow it down. I go, we're looking for someone. He's gone missing. Have you seen anyone come down here besides us?
No, mate. We already told the captain he's not down here.
Never know. You never know. All right, let me go tell him, though. And I go and go tell him.
Yeah, you go into the next compartment, and this is a cargo hold at the front of the ship. You can kind of hear a shh of the water breaking against the front of the ship. But for the most part, it's quite still and quiet here. It's so packed with sacks and crates and barrels of like foodstuffs and munitions and supplies that it sort of like acts almost as like a soundproofing that makes it very quiet in here. There's only a couple of narrow avenues you can sort of navigate between all of the stuff that's stored in here, and immediately it's going to seem to you like nobody could possibly be hiding in here. There's no space. It's all jammed tight together, and yet Marcel is up ahead of you, trying to pull out barrels and look through sacks, and just like getting kind of pointless in the areas that he's looking, and he's still like hammering on them, going like, Matthew, are you here?
They said that he's not down here, which sucks. Might as well try somewhere else.
I looked everywhere. I cannot find him.
This doesn't make any sense. Where's the one place we didn't like exactly look?
Maybe he's in one of the crates. Like you found those bodies. You found that couple, yes?
Yes. You know what? That's a good idea. Let's go look.
Maybe
Let's
he's
go
the
look
one
for
in.
any more.
Yes, that
Yeah.
must be it. And he like runs over to one side and grabs like one of the crowbars that's hanging up on the tool thing
Wait,
on the
there's other
side.
crowbars? I'll take one too. I'm like, let's go.
And, and he starts like prying like just random crates open. And you can see there's like tears welling up in the man's eyes as he's like rolling up his sleeves and really tearing into these crates.
Must have really been good friends with him.
So, like cracks one open and it's like chock full of like sawdust and the stuff that's like stored inside of it. And he's like rummaging around, like shoving his arm in, feeling around in there. At this point, you can tell he's very like panicked and maybe sort of losing it a little bit.
I'll go, snap out of it, man. Snap out of it. We're going to find him. But I need you calm.
Yes,
I need you.
he must be here. He couldn't have disappeared. And he like goes into his back pocket and pulls a hip flask and just like tans it.
The thing is, I've already asked you when you last saw him. You said you last saw him upstairs. And it's like, oh.
Yes, last night on his bunk. That was the last time I saw him. But
Is there any more other crates?
yeah, I mean the place is full of crates, and then there's all the crates up on deck as well, and then the other storage compartments to the rear of the ship.
I'm going to try to check those. Or first we listen before we open it, though. Let's try those.
It's a good idea. And he starts like banging and yelling the man's name, Matthew, as he's like banging on all the crates going around him. You hear like heavy footsteps from the stairway behind you, and Captain Archer comes down with a very broad-shouldered, red-haired man that you know whose name is Gordon. What's all this racket down here?
We're still looking for him. We had an idea that he could be in one of the crates, so since we found 2 bodies, so we might as well,
He's not going to be in the crates, lads. What in God's name would that do him? He doesn't need to be a stowaway, he's part of the crew.
You never know, Cap. There's been weird stuff lately, and
he looks over at Marcel, and he's just like, good God, man, pull yourself together. You look a state. Gordon, why don't you escort Mr. Legault up to the brig and let him cool off a little bit? And Big Gordon steps forward. And Marcel kind of looks at you and looks at the big guy and just sort of resigns himself, wipes his eyes and steps forward and follows, and then walks ahead of like Big Gordon back up the stairs, leaving you in the cargo hold with the captain. Mr. Winston, is it?
yes, sir.
Mr. Winston, there's something you must understand here. Marcel has certain demons that he's dealing with, and he's not always in the best frame of mind for dealing with a stressful situation. For instance, those stowaways that you discovered earlier, I mean, the whole reason that crate was able to be loaded onto our ship is because Marcel has failed to check the manifest properly, which was his duty. And I fear it's because he's been at the French sauce a little early in the day, if you know what I mean.
Got it.
He looks at the open crates and the cracked wood and the spilled sawdust from them. What exactly were you doing down here?
We're looking for Matthew, like they said.
Well, this section of the ship's already been searched, as has the engine, so I can assure you he's not there. Mr. Winston, I made it.
Last time?
There you go.
I'm sorry, sir.
No, he's...
No, I was saying that was in character. I'm sorry, sir, because he was talking.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, sir. There's another question I have. When's the last time that you seen Matthew? I think I already asked you. Or...
At supper last night, before I did a round of the ship before retiring. But Matthew wasn't scheduled to be on the night shift. There's no reason why he should have been wandering around. Except for your drunken captain, of course. I highly suspect that he has perhaps heard your captain stumbling around outside in the dark, drunk, and attempted to convince him to come back below deck and in doing so is at some point been swept off the ship during the storm. Neither of the men on watch that night saw him from their compartment, so he must have, if he did go to the upper deck, he must have immediately, walked behind some of the storage crates to the rear of the ship, which would have obscured their view. But it's quite possible, given the state that your captain was in walking around. Yes, I'm afraid, Mr. Winston, this is nothing more than a tragic accident, which could have been avoided had your not so responsible captain managed to control himself. Am I to understand that you were the one that managed to retrieve the captain from his little nighttime walk?
Correct. That I was.
What was your opinion about the state he was in?
Well, I thought he was just drunk. I mean, I remember seeing something out there, but I wasn't really sure what it was. I just
saw something?
Yeah, it was. I couldn't really tell what it was, but it was like some kind of out of character. Do I know what it is? Because I don't want to like metagame here.
I mean, if you know what it is, I don't think you would know what it is, unless you think you know what it is.
Right. I had a low roll, so I'm like, it looked like a shape of something, but I don't know what it was. But I know there was something out there, but I didn't see it.
I mean, there's a lot of creatures in the sea, and when the wind is and the waves are up like they were last night.
Reason why is that when he was arguing, that thing was like right there, and I was like, okay.
He was arguing?
He was mad about something, and he was shouting out to sea, and all I can tell you is that he was mad, he was crying, he was doing every other thing. So,
Mr. Winston,
exactly.
how well do you know your captain?
Not too much, just
Well, I know it's not the way these things are done in the army, but perhaps someone needs to have a conversation with him. Perhaps you're the other officer, the Weston, or someone should speak to him, because war does strange things to people, and when they turn to the drink, I've seen it get the better of too many men, and it can be very dangerous when you're out here in the open sea.
Exactly. So yeah, we'll try to figure this out. Right now, I'm more concerned about Matthew.
Sadly, we're continuing to search, but most of the ship's been looked at already. I don't expect to find him.
Where haven't we,
I've got some men checking the last of the cargo hold just now. It's the only place that really remains. There aren't many places to hide on a ship like this, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
And given that he's an experienced member of the crew, I wouldn't expect him to be
out of
anywhere.
Character, have we moved?
Yeah, the ship's been moving this whole time.
Oh god, that's even more sadder. He can be anywhere.
Yes, I've radioed the other ships in our little fleets, of course, but they haven't given sight of him. A rescue boat has been dropped from one of the warships to survey the area, but given we don't know how many hours ago he may have been washed overboard, there's no telling how far away he might be by now. And you cannot last long in the waters.
Exactly.
Again,
all right.
Terrible tragedy, and one that could have been avoided, unfortunately. But unless your Captain Farrington can shed some light, as he must have been the only other person there, I'm afraid that we won't know the exact cause of Mr. Dufour's disappearance. But don't worry about the mess. I'll have someone clean that up. And
sorry about that.
And Marcel will be back on his feet again shortly, I'm sure. He just needs some time to cool off and sober up.
Alright then.
Just nods and fixes his pipe in his mouth and walks off.
I follow him actually, because I'm going to leave too.
Yeah, I mean, he's just going to come out and go back up on the upper deck and speak to some of the men.
Yeah, I'm leaving because there's nothing else here for me.
You leave and you follow him up to the upper deck, whereupon you see Lewis who was in the midst of a massive panic attack, sitting down, holding his chest, unbuttoned the top of his shirt. And Lewis, what exactly are you doing at that point?
Probably just desperately trying to get hold of myself, trying to calm down.
I stop him like, hey, you alright?
Just a bit overcome. I'll be alright in a minute.
Okay.
Has there been any sign of the missing man?
No, not at all.
It's a terrible thing.
Exactly. Yeah, you can say that. And we don't know what's going on.
Do you know who the last person to see him was?
Last person to see him was I forgot his name.
Marcel. He's right there.
Was Marcel? Sorry, yeah, Marcel. It was Marcel, but after that, it's like he just vanished.
It's terribly sad, but I suppose there's little else that we can do.
Yeah, you can say that because it's just there's nothing else to talk about because it's like.
And at this point, I would have Kian show up, but he's not here.
Yeah.
Let me ping this cunt.
I actually saw him on Foundry
Yeah,
as well.
he's in Foundry. He's been in Foundry for a while.
Why?
Because Gloria, I mean, if you're writing a letter, you're probably going to be there for a minute
Yeah.
before you emerge from your cabin. Because I was just thinking this would be the opportunity for you to kind of group together and share what you've kind of came across and what you're thinking. So I mean, I don't know if Lewis wants to reveal to Adam what he's kind of dug into and seen, or if you don't feel comfortable enough sharing that with the person yet.
I think I would be a little hesitant to admit to having been like looking through the captain's papers just yet. I'll probably wait and see what everyone else is saying first.
Would you maybe like test the water by just asking him what's he think of the captain and stuff?
Yeah, probably would do. Are we back into the scene now? Or do you want to wait and
Yeah.
see?
Let's just keep going.
Swindle.
He can wait.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you want me to role play this or?
Yeah.
Okay, so honestly, I don't know what to say because I'm still kind of weirded out about what he was yelling at, mostly.
What he was yelling at? Was he?
Okay, so when I got there, he was yelling at something in the sea. I couldn't see it, but there was something there. But to tell you the truth, it could have been, I don't know, could have been a mackerel or something. I don't know.
But definitely bigger than a mackerel. I mean, from your point of view, it would have looked like the size of maybe like a rowing boat or something like that.
Yeah, it was. But yeah, it was something out there, but I couldn't really like tell, and he was yelling at it. But I wasn't sure. So why do you ask?
It sounds like. Oh, I mean, obviously, if he was drunk, he'd be acting a bit strange. But that sounds like more than just drunkenness.
Pretty much. So yeah, it's like.
What do you think of him generally?
I don't know.
Okay, I guess at that point, Keen, you've heard the thing on the radio. You've managed to hold yourself together. What'd you do then?
Yeah, is there like I don't know. I guess I was gonna say is there any way to respond to the voices?
I mean, does your guy know how to operate the radio? I mean, obviously there's a button you can press and there's a microphone. I think those microphones usually had 3 buttons on them.
Yeah. I don't know if you'd know how to operate a ship's radio, but I'm sure, like, how hard could it be? Push a button, talk to the microphone, but...
Okay, so it's just static. You press the button that you assume is like the one to transmit.
Yeah, and I'll just kind of very shakily take a breath and say, Finley?
All you hear is the static back. White noise.
Yeah, I think at that point, Kian would definitely take a few steps back and just kind of... obviously still disturbed by the fact that he heard the voice of a now long dead friend, especially of repeating something he said many years before. Yeah, I think Kian would just add that up to the rest of the shit, and that's happened earlier that day, and feels weirdly like he's on the right path, which doesn't bring him any sort of comfort at all. I guess, wait, I was watching Gloria, making sure she was in her room and not rooting around.
Well, you were rooting around, Jess.
Yeah, while I was running around, so yeah, I guess I returned back to the door and just try to rationalize it as best as I could, and probably failing.
All right, as you leave the radio room and walk back towards Gloria's cabin, Weston kind of steps out, seemingly just out of nowhere. Private, what are you doing? You look all shooken up, man.
I mean, I've seen a few corpses today, when I really wasn't expecting to.
Dreadful business, yes. But I mean, surely we've all seen worse by now.
Doesn't make it any easier.
Well, you're representing the British forces now, sir, son, so, stiff upper lip.
Right. Just kind of squint slightly.
He stands there awkwardly for a minute because you're not saluting him or anything.
This time it's rather pointedly.
Private, do you have a problem?
Not at the moment, sir.
Very good. I'll be on your way then.
I was waiting for Gloria.
I'm sure Dr. Pemberton won't mind if you don't hang around the front of her cabin. It's not the sort of place to be loitering, anyway.
Aye, sir. And Kian will slowly, kind of dragging his feet, make his way up.
He's going to stand there, that little space between Gloria's cabin and the captain's bunk, watching you suspiciously shuffle away upstairs. As you reach onto the top deck, you can see Adam and Lewis. Lewis looks kind of shooken up, and he's got his shirt unbuttoned. His hair's a little tiny bit of a mess.
Right. Yeah, I'll approach those two and just kind of any new developments?
There's no one to involve Kian in what you were talking about? Or is there too many people?
I'm still looking for the missing fellow, but there doesn't seem to be any sign of him at all.
Yeah, not at all. Sorry, it's just...
Well, before that, you had said something about the captain, Archer, shouting something. I don't think you ever told me what it was he actually said.
Let's say this again. Well, when it came to what he said again, I don't know, man. It was just it sounded like argumentation, and what he was shouting at the sea, but it was something there, but I couldn't see it.
Something in the sea?
I don't know, man. Out of character. What did he exactly say?
He was shouting why weren't you there? You weren't there. Why didn't you answer? That kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, he was shouting stuff like that, and it's like, okay. When I looked out what he was yelling at, like I said, I saw somebody, but I couldn't see it. If that makes any kind of sense. I'm sorry if it doesn't. Then that's all I can give you.
Well, that can't be.
What? Do you know what it was? What he was shouting at?
No, we put a stop to that, so it must be something different.
Stop the what? What are you talking about? Saying stuff. 'Jibber jabber.
20 so years ago, some very bad people were trying to let something out.
Hmm.
I don't know if I don't know the particulars of it. I've tried studying it after the fact, but I barely can wrap my head around most of this stuff. But it seemed like they were trying to perform some sort of ritual that could only be done at a certain time, at a very specific time, and when we interfered, it ruined the whole thing. And from what I gathered, it was going to be a very long time before the next opportunity. All I know is if you've ever been to Scotland, I'd highly recommend staying away from Loch Ness.
Interesting.
Gloria, you hear a knock on your cabin door. And you hear Weston's voice inquire, Dr. Pemberton?
Hello. Yeah, I was just writing a letter to my daughter, so.
Oh, very nice. I was wondering if I might have a word about our Captain Farrington.
Yes, sure.
He steps into your cabin, closes the door behind him. First of all, I wanted to say that I appreciate last night your effort to slow down and put a stop to the captain's drinking. I thought that was very admirable of you.
No problem. Yeah.
Dr. Pemberton, I'm sure I can trust you with this confidence, but Captain Farrington has had some issues of late of a personal nature, and I believe that has led to an increase in his habit of alcohol.
I could tell that there was some sort of, mental impact that had happened in his life as, some
Yes.
situation.
Yes, well, without wanting to go into details or release any personal experiences that he might not want to share, suffice to say that I believe it has affected him, and I'm concerned that it may affect his performance in our upcoming mission brief, or operation. I was wondering if there was anything you might be able to do on a medical basis that would perhaps inhibit the effects of alcohol. Is that something that's possible?
But off the record, back in those days, they had they had stuff that they had for people to stop drinking. It was like alcohol, but it wasn't alcohol.
Right. Okay.
So I say that it's there is a tonic that you can put in his alcohol that will inhibit the drinking habit.
I see.
So.
Well, obviously, I mean, we're not due to land in Gibraltar for a few hours yet, but do you think you could attempt to procure this tonic for us while we were there?
Yes. Do you have a nurse on board? Or any medical staff? Have you got, and I'll just list some tonics.
Well, obviously there is limited amount of medical supplies on the ship, but I think once we dock at Gibraltar in a few hours, you should be able to accommodate some from the quartermaster, I will write you a note that you can take to the quartermaster and see if you can procure a sample of it there. If not, then you need to, find it through other means at the port. I can certainly compensate you for the cost and for your time.
Yes, that would be great, and I think that would be helpful as well. We can't have any more tragic events on board.
Oh, do you believe the missing man is somehow linked to the captain's behaviour?
It was very stormy that night. He could have went on, on deck. I'm not a stupid woman. I know that people can drown at sea.
Of course, but yes, I mean, I think it's for the best if the captain is unable to restrain himself as needed in the line of duty, then I think it's up to us to not just support him and advise him, but also to take steps to ensure that he is at full lucidity at all times.
Of course.
Thank you, Dr. Pemberton. And of course, I trust you'll be discreet with this matter.
Indeed.
Thank you. And he'll step away.
I go to the quartermass.
Well, there's no quartermaster here, he says, when you dock at Gibraltar.
Oh, right, okay. I make a note of it. I like to make lists, so I note it down.
But yeah, I'm quite common if people write this stuff down all the time. Right, but you're going to stay in your cabin finishing your letter, I would assume.
I think I've finished my letter, so I will go and find out what the rest are doing.
Sure, you can go step out your cabin, walk upstairs, and you'll see the three of them sort of standing around like a bunch of shy teenage boys, not talking much.
So how's everyone?
Considering the events of today, I think we're holding up as best as we can. No sign of the missing man.
Yes, it's tragic, but in tragedy, we must move forward.
So, I mean, out of character, I think at this point you've all got independent pieces of information, if you want to maybe start pulling those together.
He definitely takes, hesitates a moment before he kind of looks at Gloria, kind of rolls his eyes and goes, alright, so I did what I told you not to do, and I fucking looked through the captain's bags.
You did?
And I'll pull out the SOE letter.
Okay, I will go to share documents and make this available for everyone. You should all be able to see that letter now. And of course the text of it is at the bottom if it's easier to read.
Yeah. The first bit's more or less just additional information that we already kind of figured, but it's the second bit that kind of worries me. This, and also the receipt that he has.
Has anyone not seen the receipts yet? Like in character.
I don't think I've seen it.
Okay, so you're seeing the receipt for the first time.
I share the receipt with him.
I'm not sure what Captain Farrington's looking for, but it's there's definitely a lot that we're not being told.
Do you think that they are killing the prisoners, and this is why we have the receipt?
I don't think so. That doesn't quite add up. By the sounds of the receipt, it's, I'm not entirely sure, but it seems like Farrington is transporting a coffin
But there seems to be 12 on the coffin, unless I'm getting that wrong, and it's 12 whatever the currency was.
Pounds.
£12.
It was before
Yes.
decimalisation, so it's still shillings and sixpence and all that.
Yeah, I think that's just money, but it's still... It's removal from Churchill's hospital, an oak coffin, brass fittings, the labor of 2 men, transport by carriage, and a cremation service. Not sure why he would have that with him. And I would really like to know what sort of information he's trying to get from his man in Europe.
Seems to me like the captain's a little bit too interested in the occult.
It seems to me like the captain is a bit unstable.
Considering what he was apparently shouting to the sea, or something in the sea, there's definitely a lot going on that he's not telling us, he's not letting us on.
I have been informed by Mr. Weston that the captain has had some mental breakdown or some mental situation, some medical situation. Yes, so that I think is what has happened with his outlandish behaviours.
I suppose we don't know what he's seen. It's certainly not unheard of in the current circumstances, but it does seem like there's something he's not telling us. I must admit I had a look through his effects myself, and there was a note, and among it, that he seems to be interested in things that happened in the mine in my hometown. I don't know why he has that, but it sounds like that could be something to do with why they brought me along for this.
From the captain's own words, we've all had strange happenings, either associated with us personally or with, directly or indirectly, but the captain also said that he himself didn't have any sort of interaction with any supposed supernatural events, and yet he's having a shouting match with sea creatures over why they didn't show when he called. And that just sounds a little too similar to something I've experienced.
There is a alarm from another ship nearby, and then a split second later there's a shh sound, and then a juddering explosion, and the whole ship rocks to one side, and you're all thrown off your feet.
Our ship rocks to one side?
Yes. Angled from the
fuck,
front. Bells start ringing, men start shouting. Captain Archer just comes sliding down the handrails of the steps, and he's like, life jackets, life jackets.
6.
What do you all do?
Yeah, I fucking scramble for a life jacket.
Yeah, same.
You see these crewmen running up and down. You can see flags being waved, whistles being blown, bells being rung. Some men are standing on the edge of the ship shouting over to other ships. You're like, what can you see? Where did it come from? And then almost immediately they're just boom, 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 boom. All the artillery guns of some of the warships escorting your group, firing off into the distance. You can see one of the ships with all the drop charges kind of making its way to slowly turn around, or as fast as it possibly can, to turn around at the head of the group off to the left.
Do we see any ships that aren't with our little flotilla, like enemy ships or submarines? I mean, U-boats.
Let me just check things out. Make me the non-investigation roll.
Oh, other actions?
Yeah, that's the one. But you just have the one dice.
Yeah.
Anyone else wants to do, they can as well. But if that's good enough, yeah, you're going to look off in the distance and you can see, again, this kind of the dark shape just thinly above the surface of the water and just kind of like dipping under. But you're also going to see the big splashes as the artillery guns from the warship like just blanket the area around it. But the boat, as I said, judders sharply to one side, and instinctively your body feels like the whole thing's just going to tip over, but then it sways back the other way just as violently, and it does this back and forth for a few times before it starts to kind of like steady itself again.
I think if Gloria is anywhere close to Kian, he'll try to like grab hold of her. That way, you know, he can help stabilize her.
Oh, how chivalrous.
Well, we're out of guild, but yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
You see Captain Farrington come running down from the front of the ship, and he's got his like his gloves under his arm, and he's like still got his hat. He's just like kind of holding it with the other hand as he's running along. It looks like we've been hit.
Yeah, it looks like another U-boat. Warships are firing on it, but it's still
Blasted Jerry, and we're almost to the straits as well. Well, come now, we must stand by the lifeboats in case we need to evacuate. Where's Weston?
He was below decks last I saw.
Ah, that damned fool. Mr. O'Doyle, would you run down to the lower deck and see if Weston is around? But don't stray too far and don't take too long.
Aye, sir. Run down as fast as I can. Trying to look for Lieutenant Weston.
As you're just running downstairs, Weston is just calmly like strolling towards you. You needn't worry about me, Private. I'm on my way.
Captain's orders.
Of course, I would expect nothing less.
I'll rejoin the group, I guess.
There's a frosty sort of feeling between the two of you.
Yeah, definitely.
You get back on top and everyone's run back and forth. Farrington's just standing with you guys. Captain Archer is like shouting, commanding his men for reports. Have they been hit? Have they taken on water? What's the state of the engine? Blah, blah, blah. Very tense sort of panic. And you're waiting for like the second explosion to come or the command, the siren out to evacuate, but it doesn't come. And as the minutes tick over, the captain himself seems to like calm down and speaks to his men and then approaches your group. Well, it appears we've had a lucky escape, my friends. It looks like the torpedo detonated too early. It was just the shockwave that pushed us around. There's some minor damage to the hull, but she hasn't been breached. We should be able to make repairs when we dock at Gibraltar.
It's rather fortunate.
Well, it might seem that our luck on this trip is finally turning around. Sorry to give you all such a fright, but it appears the danger is past. I've gotten word from the other ship that they've sunk the attacker, which would make 2 of their group down now. There may be a third lurking, it has been known, but she probably won't continue to operate on her own.
Any word of survivors?
Survivors? Oh, from the Jerry. Well, the other ships will take care of that. That's not really our concern. So we should make dock at Gibraltar 3 to 4 hours from now. I think you can amuse yourselves for that length of time, and then you'll be able to get off this ship and stretch your legs a bit. And he gives Captain Farrington a hard stare. Although I will remind you all, when we are at war and we are at sea, you need to be extra cautious going about your business. And I'd advise you not to be wandering around alone should an accident occur. And he gives Farrington another hard stare. And with that, he's going to walk off. And you will be given a couple hours to do anything you want to do before we dock at Gibraltar. Or if you want, we can just skip to that point.
I think Kian would actually want us to visit, try to speak with Captain Archer.
Okay. What about the rest of you?
She's going to try and find a quartermaster if anyone wants to come with her.
Quartermaster.
Quartermaster, yeah.
He told you it'll be at the dock, not on the ship.
Oh no, I'm not. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, once you
just
dock.
right.
Okay, so
yeah,
you
yeah.
what do you want to do for the next couple hours though?
Well, maybe speak to the captain to
Okay.
see where his head's at.
Farrington or Archer?
Probably Farrington to see what's going on up there. Because I want to do a sort of. It's kind of like a psych
Evaluate
evaluation,
him,
but
yeah.
I want to evaluate him to see.
Sure. Okay, so you want to speak to Farrington, you want to speak to Archer. What about Lewis and Adam?
Hmm.
And you're muted, Glenn, if you didn't notice.
I think I'll probably go back gold.
Meanwhile, while I was muted. So yeah.
Hang on. On you go, Alan.
I was just going to say, I think I'll probably go back below the deck and try to calm down, because it's like, it was still in the middle of panicking and, like, having to suddenly put on our life jackets because we'd been hit, I imagine.
It's a good day, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense.
But yeah, I wanted to get a life jacket also. I wanted to go up there to see what the hell was going on, what was hitting our ship.
Okay, so you've ran to like the upper deck to have a look around, and you can hear the guys all shouting stuff and yelling. So you'd have been like right in amongst them when they were like giving the report that they didn't actually get hit. There's no damage to the hull, or no serious damage at least.
What the hell that was?
Well, it was a torpedo that got shot, but it exploded too early. Yeah, a few dozen feet from the ship. Just not quite enough to cause its major damage.
Alright then.
But was there anything you wanted to do in the meantime that you have before you make dock? Make port.
Get ready.
Okay, so nothing in particular.
Nothing at all. I mean, I want to keep trying to find Matthew, but
I mean, you can continue to look around the ship if you want. We can do a roll for that as well.
All right, rolling out. What am I rolling?
Be investigate roll. You've got a keen eye, so you can have the second dice for the occupation.
Nope.
You only rolled one dice.
Exactly.
But you can roll the second one though.
Oh, that's right. I was supposed to click two of them.
Yeah.
My bad.
So you spend the next couple of hours thoroughly just going over everything with a keen eye. Trying to look for signs of where he might have been when it happened, if he did get sucked overboard. But given like the wind and the rain and the water sloshing everywhere, any prints or anything like that would have been like washed away, if there were any to begin with.
Exactly.
There's no sign of a struggle, there's no sign of like blood or anything like that. Besides the damage for the things that have already like occurred. There's nothing else there to suggest anything else like happened. And up where you found the captain, there's no sign that there was anyone else there at all. You're like positioning yourself to see, when you come up the stairs and facing the guys that were sitting with the light on at the bridge, if they could have seen you, and if it would be possible for him to kind of move around and not be seen and then get swept away, and you kind of figure that this all kind of fits in this does seem the most sort of likely explanation for what's happened, but you definitely don't find any trace of him on the ship.
How sad. Well, I'm just gonna be waiting then.
And you'll probably come across Marcel sitting. He's in the brig, but he's not locked up. The door's open. He's just sitting on the bench, and he's like nursing a cup of coffee with a blanket wrapped around him. And another guy's like sitting there reading the newspaper and smoking in the chair beside him. And he just gives you like a nod and a weak smile when you go by.
Not back, but I am kind of blue because of this.
Yeah. Okay, so Dr. Pemberton, you approach Captain Farrington, who is having a quiet word with Weston. As you approach, the Weston just sort of stands to the side as you come up. Gives you a knowing look.
Hello, Captain.
Ah, Dr. Pemberton, how are we today?
Good, good. It's quite a blustery day, isn't it?
Yes, that's quite,
Hi.
isn't it? And he like sips on the coffee he's now got. It's quite refreshing to be out at sea, don't you think? Given
Yes,
given the circumstances.
definitely. I was just going to go to the go and get some lunch. Would you like to join me?
That sounds like a capital idea. Do you want to join us, Weston? And he says, perhaps in a little while, Captain. I will allow you the company of the good Dr. Pemberton. And he like gives a little bow to the two of you and walks away.
So, are you missing your family?
Ooh,
You
that's
have kids,
that's
don't you?
that's the investigation roll.
Is it okay?
Come on, roll high, roll high.
So you've only got the one dice, I'm afraid.
Come on, 6.
But you could use the insight dice. Yeah, so that will be bare minimum or a failure. Do you want to re-roll it using the insight dice?
Well, considering I only have 2 insight, then I thought I had 3 last time.
Yes,
but
you
yes,
yeah,
so
you got
I
plenty to
should
spare.
really yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
go
I'm gonna
ahead.
do it.
So same roll with the insight dice included. Yeah, that's much better.
Yes!
As you say this to him, and he's like offered his arm out to you, you know, to escort you like a gentleman should, and as you say that to him, he like physically freezes for a moment, and his eyes like wince, and there's an uncomfortable pause before he even like says anything, and you get the sense that like he kind of wants to say something, but for whatever reason, just all he does is silence.
Are you quite well? You
I'm afraid
kids.
I'm afraid I'm feeling a little under the weather today, Dr. Pemberton. You were quite correct last night. I shouldn't have drank as much as I did. Feeling a bit worse for wear for it today, I'm afraid. But I think I'll be quite alright after we get something to eat. So lunch.
Yes.
Splendid.
Captain.
Yes.
You know that you can always confide in me. I will keep anything to myself. You know, I have that doctor privilege.
Yeah, you're so good at that 5 minutes ago.
Okay. I have that doctor privilege confidentiality, so if you ever need to talk.
That's very kind of you, Mrs. Pemberton. But I'm sure I'm quite alright, thank you.
Do I find out off record? Do I find out anything else? Is there like,
Well, from just like watching them, that's all you can deduce at the moment.
yeah.
He's going to the
That's-
galley when lunch has been laid. You sit down. You're a bit early, but the guys, you know, when they see you sit down, you know, and you're the only woman on board, so they're trying to be courteous. And they come out and bring you your lunchtime meal. The captain sits down across from you, like puts his gloves to one side, sets down his coffee.
I like a bit of salmon. It's yeah.
You don't really get a choice of a menu. You just get what you're given. But sure, it can
Yes,
be it can be fish.
I'm trying to be like light about this.
Right. Okay. It's conversation. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
'cause
good.
I don't want to pure stun him and just like push it. I need to just like get him to confide.
No, I thought you were
in
talking to
me.
like the server, because I just said.
But I was talking to everyone. I was
Sure.
like, oh, a bit of salmon. Because
Yes.
we had cod this morning, so it's like, you know.
I mean, God, don't they had they probably like beef rations and shit like that. But yes, anyway, so if you look up, yes, I do enjoy salmon myself. I used to do a lot of fishing, you know. A friend of mine has an
Oh.
estate in the North Country.
Yes, me and my father, when I was a little girl, we did like a lot of fishing. He was a great fisherman, my father.
Ah, yes, it's important to cherish the memories of our lost loved ones.
Yes, definitely. It's also good to share as well.
Yes, I imagine so. It's not can't do one well to bottle things up and all that.
Yes, definitely. Do you know this is my father's watch?
Oh, is it
wear
really?
it. Yes, I wear it always. I feel like he's there with me. You know, he's gonna come back one day.
Do you really believe that, Miss Pemberton?
Oh, 100%. I have faith that he's going to come back.
Is it something you've given thought to previously? The afterlife.
Most definitely. You know, being a surgeon, you see, life and death. And yes, there's definitely that spiritual awakening in me. Yes.
I've spent a great deal of time thinking about it personally, especially over these past few weeks, and I find myself questioning a lot of things that I had previously felt more sure of. I actually met a friend of mine who has a deep interest in the subject a little over a year ago. My wife and I attended a seance that he held in an attempt to speak to her deceased family.
Oh, I like a good seance. Who was the person?
Well, I'm afraid it didn't quite go as planned. It was quite disturbing, and she was put off with the whole idea afterwards. But I find it very interesting. The man who arranged it for us is very knowledgeable in these things, and has spent a great deal of his lifetime researching on the subject. It was actually some of his discussions that pointed me towards the current mission that we're on. It was his suggestion and mentioning of the activities within the Nazi Party, or certain sections of it, and their links to the Cthulhu Society prior to their rise to power. Yes, but perhaps we shouldn't be discussing such morbid subjects over lunch.
Do you have a name for this person? Because I could, I would like maybe to do a seance like from, my father. So, to find out, is he amongst the living, or is he, walking in the shadows? She says this in a kind of like laughing sort of, manner.
He looks more serious when you're saying things like that.
Sorry, I didn't mean to offend. I just meant that, one needs to, know a bit more about these things and have a bit more knowledge in my line of work.
He has a very strange expression. His mouth is like slightly open, and his hands tremble ever so slightly, and then one of them like grabs the table quite firmly. And he's just kind of like looking at you, almost as if he's like under some sort of mild sedation. And then he seems to kind of snap out of it, and covers his mouth for a second. Oh, I'm dreadfully sorry, ma'am.
I have some tonic that I can help you with for that if you're feeling dizzy.
No, I'm quite alright. A bit of lunch will do me good.
So, when you were a lad, were you a cricket player? I could see it in your eyes. You were a cricket player, weren't you?
From that point onwards, the conversation is just very ordinary. Nothing kind of crops up to raise your suspicions or give you anything more to go on. It's very cordial and polite and such. And it makes an effort to kind of just keep it light. So, Cian, you approach the other captain, Captain Archer.
Yeah. Obviously, I'll try to get him whenever he's not too busy.
Yeah, it's maybe a half an hour or so before things like calm down a little more and you're able to catch him on the bridge.
Yeah. Just kind of approach him whenever he's not too busy and just go, excuse me, Captain Archer,
Yes, sir. How can I help you?
it's not exactly a mystery that you don't harbor too many kind feelings towards Captain Farrington. It almost seems like you two known each other.
Well, I know him in the sense that I've met his type before, lad. A man like that shouldn't be in charge of any group of persons, let alone a military operation. He certainly shouldn't be aboard the ship, walking around on his own drunk at night.
A man like that? How do you mean?
Well, I don't pry or speculate too much on a man's business, but clearly he's in need of a rest.
What makes you say that?
It lowers his voice a bit as he gets closer because he also doesn't want to be seen to be like gossiping or whatnot.
Yeah.
A man doesn't turn to drink so readily, Mr. O'Doyle, unless he's seen things that he no longer wants to remember. The only exceptions would perhaps be the funeral of a loved one. But even that is temporary for most. Now, your captain, I doubt he would have got in the position he's in if he had a habit of this kind of behaviour. So I can only assume that something he has witnessed fairly recently has set him on this path.
A funeral.
So yes, I mean, being an Irishman, Mr. O'Doyle, you must be familiar with the copious amounts of alcohol one can consume at these occasions.
Kane will definitely crack a knowing smile. Yeah, I've certainly had my fair share of the drink.
I don't doubt it, but you'll also be acutely aware of the dangers that can come about if you lose restraint.
Oh, aye.
So no, I do not know your captain personally, but I have met men like him and in his situation, and rarely does it end well.
It just seems to have shown up rather abruptly. Just last night, in fact. Every other time I've seen him, he seemed, poised and sober. But last night in particular, it almost seemed like he was determined to drink himself to sleep.
Who's to say what goes on in a man's mind? We don't know what he's seen or what he's been through. I was speaking to your Mr. Winston earlier, and he doesn't seem to have known the captain very long. Have you been around him long yourself?
Oh, I'd imagine the lieutenant, I should say. I would imagine the lieutenant has probably known him far longer than I have. Just the past couple of weeks, I believe.
He said Winston, not Weston. I know there's some.
Oh, Winston. Okay. Yeah, I misheard Weston. Okay.
Well,
I think
if you boys haven't known him very long, then who's to say how long he's had this habit, or what his behaviours are.
Are you, aside from all of us, are we transporting any other cargo for us or Captain Farrington?
There's a couple of small crates for supplies under his name, yes. One of them's quite heavy.
Just one in particular?
One of them is quite heavy. The other one seems to be... I mean, I can check the manifest to tell you exactly what's in there if you would care. I don't think there's any reason why that should be privileged.
Yeah. Just for the sake of making sure we have everything we should have when we get to where we're going.
He walks over to this big book that he's got on the next to the wheel, and flips it open, runs his finger down it, turns around to the cabinet, looks through, pulls out. Hang on. feeding the cats. I already fed them.
Jeez, I need my eyes checked. I saw feeding rats and I was like, what the fuck?
That's not scary at all.
People keep rats.
Yeah, no, I just
Yeah,
knew that
runs
wasn't
his
right.
finger down, checks the number, turns around to the cabinet, pulls out a document, flips through it. Yes, here we are. So, one crate is personal supplies, basic medicines, ammunition for your rifles and handguns, etc., etc. And in his other book is his private library. So that would be why it weighs so much. It's full of books.
Oh, well, all right. Do I like? I'm assuming there's like sort of numbers or like locations on the ship of where these crates are located.
Yeah, everything will be labelled so that they know where it all is.
Okay, cool. Yeah, Keen will definitely make a note of that.
Yes, I mean he is a historian or something. I mean, he expressed he had an interest in ancient antiquities. So I'm assuming this is his. It makes sense that he would have a library.
Yeah, that's sort of what we're doing in Tunisia. Just sort of checking on, the artifacts. I'm assuming we've heard of like, Nazis taking like, works of art or cultural, objects of cultural and historical significance and stuff like that.
I think it was known they were taking
Like
things
in
from like
France.
like the French Museum and stuff like that and taking it back to Germany. I think
Yeah.
that was known. Yeah,
Yeah. So
plundering. That was the word I was looking for. They've been known to like
Yeah.
plunder. Yeah.
Yeah, so Kane's trying to spin that off as, yeah, that's totally what we're doing. We're not looking for, Cthulhu.
Oh, I watched the movie and it was about the guys that actually their job was retrieving these artifacts.
Yeah,
I can't remember what the
yeah.
squad was called, man.
I
Nah, that's
can't remember
annoying.
either, but I remember that was the thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
randomly remember that movie
Yeah,
just
so
now.
he's probably going to assume you're like part of one of those sort of units.
Yeah.
Ah, yes, it's important. People forget these kind of things, the cultural loss that can happen during war. So are you something of an art expert yourself then, Mr. O'Doyle?
Not particularly. Sort of, but, sort of learned just by, kind of being around it, I mostly just drive the trucks and make sure everyone's,
I see.
getting to where they're
I
going.
hope you won't take this the wrong way, but you didn't strike me as an educated man.
No, that's quite a fair assumption, actually. Like I said, I've only just recently started to learn a thing or two, and really, what little makes it through this thick skull of mine kind of rattles around occasionally before falling out my ears.
Well, we'll always need someone to drive the truck, so I wouldn't feel bad about it.
Aye, yeah.
Okay.
Always need someone to drive the truck.
Yeah, he gives you a big smile and puts out a hand to shake. He's like, "It's a pleasure to meet you, Mr. Doyle. If there's anything else I can do for you at all, don't be afraid to ask."
No, I suppose I just want to double check and make sure everything's all in order for our crates, just to see it for myself.
Of course. I mean, I would need the captain's permission to open them, but I can give you where they're stored. That's not a problem.
Oh yeah, no, I just want to make sure that they're there. I trust you, sir.
Yes. Frank squinty eyes. He'll give you the location where the crates are stored.
Yeah, for the most part, Kian will lay low and just kind of find ways of amusing himself, but I think he'll definitely try to sneak off to check out the crates.
Right.
If
okay.
the opportunity arises.
Well, I mean, if you want to do it before you use dock, that would be the time. Although you'll be once you dock, when you're done there, you'll continue on this ship afterwards anyway.
Yeah, I think Kian, like the curiosity would get the better of him, and he'd have to at least take a peek.
Okay. Well, I mean, do you want to involve someone else in this as well?
Nope. I think Kian's being stupid on his own.
Okay, so you just want to hog more of the limelight. Okay. Does anyone else have anything they want to do just now? Okay, well, I will say, Cian, as you head down to the lower decks towards the cargo hold at the rear that you've been told that holds these, you do come across Lewis, who is like sitting on his bunk, head in his hands, sipping on a water, which I'm guessing would be a glass of water, actually. Lewis, you're sitting there when Cian kind of comes along hurriedly, and Cian just pauses nervously for a second when he sees you.
Everything okay, Mr. Doyle?
Yeah, I just take a look around, see if we're the only two here.
Yes, just you two.
I was actually going to look through the crates that we have, that Farrington's got aboard the ship.
You reckon there's something amiss with what he's carrying?
I don't know what to think at the moment. I just know that Farrington's got secrets, and I really don't like that.
I certainly understand your misgivings about the man, for sure.
Are you all right, Lewis? You seem particularly...
Just a bit shaken up with everything that's been going on. I mean, we narrowly avoid getting sunk by Jerry there, so, you know, I think I've had better days.
Yeah, no, that's certainly, yeah, it's been a very thrilling day, but I don't know, I suppose I keep my mind busy with other questions and things that I know I can control. Keeps me from thinking about how we're sitting on a metal tub in the middle of the ocean, and how I can't swim.
Well, we shouldn't be long now before we get to Gibraltar, or at least we'll get a bit of a break then.
Yeah. Would you mind helping out then?
Well, I can't say I'm not curious about what the captain might be concealing from us. I'll try and do something. If you want to have a look, I could at least try and keep a lookout for you.
That would actually be perfect. I promise it won't take too long. It's just one crate I want to look into.
Okay, I'll follow you then.
Right, so you're going to walk along there. You'll be able to find the crate without much bother. You just check the numbers: 014, 015, 016. There is one larger crate at the bottom on the floor, which is heavier. You assume that is the one with, like, checking the manifest will tell you that's the one with the books. There's an equally large one, but lighter, and you're able to like push it without too much trouble on top, and that is the other crate.
Yeah, I think I'd try to find the crate that's the heavier with the personal library.
Right,
and
yes.
I would try to open that one.
And as we established, there are like tools for opening crates and things like that, just sort of stationed around the cargo hold that you can get easy access to.
Yeah.
So you'll have one dice to crack this open unless you want to risk insight.
I mean, I've got 2 blank spaces. Why not?
Okay, well, you got one blank space because when you get the last one, that's you.
Oh, right, yeah.
When it's filled, you're
yeah.
gone.
No.
Excellent. Okay, so make an insight roll. Okay, so you crack the case open. After pushing the other one aside, creaks with the wood, and you push it aside, and it is just packed with volumes. Some of them are like journals stitched together. You see the one in French that you saw him reading the other night. There are other various ones. They seem to be about history, ancient cultures, languages. There are volumes on the occult. There are volumes on folklore and myth. There's a lot of them devoted to the Phoenicians and vultures of the Knight and the Levant, around the Middle East area, which makes sense regarding where you're going. There's a language book transcribing like Arabic terms into English and vice versa. And in amongst all of these, I mean, you're looking for books to give you like a sense of what creepy things you might be looking for. But the thing that actually creeps you out when you're looking into this, first of all, is a letter that is kind of wedged between some of the books.
Oh yeah, definitely grabbing that.
Okay, so if you're grabbing that, I will... Fuck, where is it? I'll just give everyone Observer, because you can share it with them.
Sure.
It says, finding letter from F. Do you want to read it out to everyone?
Yes. Dear Charles, it was most pleasing to have your excellent company at our seance, and I can only express my deepest gratitude for your introductions to the good Major General. I do hope your wife also enjoyed the activity and can only apologize most profusely for the somewhat disturbing presence during her communique. It is, as I am sure you will understand, beyond our control which of the ancestors will make an appearance or how they choose to present themselves. I must also express the sincerity to which our good vessel, Miss Chamberlain, thoroughly enjoyed the experience, and that should you and the delightful Mrs. Farrington wish to make another attempt, would be more than willing to host another session at a time of your choosing. On another matter, and in reference to that which you made inquiries upon myself at our meeting, I did spend some time in study so as to recover the information which I, at the time, and in no small part to our inebriation, was unable to recollect in full. There does, as I surmised, exist mention in some volumes of a race, ancient and wise, learned in the ways of magic and science of the stars. It is said and mentioned twice in one particular volume of note that the transcendence of time and the earth is not beyond approach and may in fact be called upon by certain ritual and offering. The nature of these I cannot express here, as I am sure you may understand, but suffice to say that one with such knowledge and made practice could in theory amend past mistakes and avoid future misfortune. To do so, one would inevitably wield great power over one's destiny, say not that of our fellow man. It is without question a life ambition of mine to uncover such lost knowledge, or at the least to understand why our learned forefathers came to understand that such a thing could exist. The state of affairs we live in, the folly of men seeking material gains, and the control of the masses through warfare and misery most undesired, is as temporary and brief as the setting sun, but with the secrets of our ancestors we may yet find method to bring about a cataclysmic change in the fortunes of our race in its entirety. So is my hope, and I feel your own. I hope to enjoy your company again in the near future. Sincerely, F. I'm stupid, but does just the initial F ring any kind of dinner, like, you know, any kind of bells?
Because your insight, I'm going to say there's like a creeping sensation up the back of your neck as you have a memory of reading a letter written from a man named Ferguson to a man named Michael Thomas once years ago.
Ferguson, okay.
The handwriting is the same.
Okay, remind me who Ferguson was again.
The warlock.
Oh, right.
The chief of police guy.
Oh, fuck, the guy that we shot and burned and he might have died?
He didn't die.
So subconsciously you like recognize the handwriting. That's what like sets you off, although you probably don't realize in the moment that's what it is.
Yeah, I think after a few moments of like sincerely F, and then it's just sort of like creeping realization, like, wait a second, the handwriting F, Ferguson, and Kian probably turns like bleach white.
And at that point, when you've pulled out that letter and the books are going from like volumes and journals or educational material basically and knowledge about history, and they start to go like the Libra, which is rituals of the necromonger, things like that, tomes that are talking about spells and demons and magical practices of ancient races. They're in like Latin and Arabic and language Sanskrit and other languages and forms of writing that you just do not recognize.
Oh, no, this can't be. It's been 20 years. Hey,
Lewis, you look over and you can see Keaton's just kind of gone chalk white.
yeah,
Sure.
Kian's like trying to find a date on this letter to see when it was written. He's staring, wild-eyed, manic, hyperventilating.
Kane, are you all right, man? You look like you've seen a ghost.
Farrington knows him. He knows. We saw him dead. We saw him burned. This doesn't make any sense.
Try to stay calm. You're try to stay calm. You're not making any sense to me, man. Look, we'd better get these things back before anybody notices they've been disturbed.
Was it written? As long as he had it, does the paper look old, or is it? I mean, obviously, there's probably not much of a difference between 20 years.
No, I mean that's
or
in good condition. It's just a little kind of creased here and there.
Yeah. So yeah. Yeah. Very very shakily. Probably in a panic. Kian will try to stuff it all back together and put the crate back to as best as he can, the way he found it, and
Sure.
close it back up, seal it.
Yeah, I'll try and help Kane do this. I mean, I feel like, being somewhat used to dealing with illicit goods, I would kind of, this situation would not be unknown to me, so I would be like trying to help him put things back and make it look like it's been undisturbed.
Why don't you give me a action roll in that case, Lewis? And you can apply your occupation, so you get 2 dice.
Good old me and Goose.
2 dice, you get to roll another one.
Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, you just do it, but as you're kind of like in the middle of like closing it over and trying to put the books all in the right order, and Lewis, you didn't even see what order he took the books out in the first place. Lieutenant Weston comes like walking along. These are just like hurriedly and like shut it and like, pull the thing over it. And he approaches. Private, what in the devil are you doing down here?
Lieutenant, it's a thoroughly embarrassing business, sir, but have you seen Mr. Marcel anywhere? I was hoping to ask him if he knew somewhere we could get, like some sort of medicine for, the runs. It's Mr. Keane's not feeling very well, and we don't want to look bad in front of the lads, the men. We're sort of representing Great Britain and Ireland here. We don't want to look bad in front of the French lads, but we're hoping just on the quiet to make an inquiry if they've got some medicine for a bit of the old
Yeah, you can roll 2 dice for that one as well.
Is that within occupational expertise or just human?
Yes. Because your occupation's the black marketeer, man. So you've got the gap. Okay, but you should have clicked the other dice as well. But the 5 is good enough. So, yes, of course. And he like steps between the two of you and opens up the supplies box that's on top. You should really seek the captain's permission before you come down here opening this, so you relax. And he rummages around and gets you like some I don't know, I guess a mixture of like laxatives and stomach salts, and like just hands you the little bottle.
Thanks very much, Lieutenant.
Yeah, it was a bit of an emergency. It sort of just happened.
No, that's quite understandable. Be on your way then.
Sir?
Very, very quickly make our way.
Yep, just make your way off as he's watching you go. So, do you want to go and share this new information with anyone?
Yeah.
Yeah, I should probably try and explain to everyone else, but hopefully convince them to keep calm about it.
Okay, so Pemberton is having lunch with the captain right now. So you find Adam
sh-
up deck.
Well, she's finished having lunch with
Well,
the
no,
captain.
because
I think that was.
they were doing this by the time you were doing that. Like, you'll take a
Ah,
little.
right, okay.
Yeah, same.
They can get you right after, but I'm just saying they would find Adam first. Makes sense.
Hey, Adam.
I'm
we've-
not steering Laura. What are you doing? I'm just the logical order they would find you in. They would find Adam first because he was up on deck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what's up?
we really. Captain Farrington's hiding a lot more. He's got a note from. He's got a letter from somebody I had thought dead 20 years ago. I'm not sure how long ago it was written, but it seemed like they. Farrington. Just don't trust Farrington at the moment. He's definitely hiding secrets.
Okay.
Just as you say that, Farrington and Dr. Pemberton, I guess, come out of the galley. And Farrington gives you a smile and a nod and like walks past you. And Dr. Pemberton just kind of lingers behind him.
Any bright ideas?
What are you talking?
I'm talking Swindle's character.
20 years ago, a man called Ferguson was in charge of a cult. He was the one that was leading a ritual 20 years ago when we stopped them, I think.
A ritual? Farrington was talking about a ritual.
How are you there?
Seance. With his wife.
Did he happen to tell you
What?
how long ago the seance was?
And he was talking about a chap that was with him. I don't recall the name.
He didn't tell you the name.
He didn't tell me the name. Yes, he didn't tell me the name of the
But-
person that was doing the seance.
But did he
Yes.
tell you how long ago the seance was, or is this recent?
This was quite. I think this was quite recent.
He said it wasn't more than a year ago.
It wasn't more than a year ago. And what was funny as well was that his wife, when I asked of his family, he didn't look very well. It's very strange. What an odd chap.
His wife didn't enjoy the seance?
Yes, they did indeed. But apparently, yeah, they would be going again, but he couldn't tell me. He couldn't recall the name. So he said it was under a year ago, even a year.
Ferguson's alive after all this time. Where did they go?
Ferguson? Ferguson?
It's been 20 years. I saw that thing burn.
What thing? What thing burned?
Ferguson!
Oh. Is he a friend of yours?
No, he was the one leading the cult.
Oh.
20 years ago, he led a ritual to let something out of Loch Ness, something awful, and me and a few others put a stop to it. We couldn't really do anything other than just... they were going to sacrifice my best friend. I don't know all the details. All I know is that my best friend, Alistair, was captured by these people, and they were going to kill him. We quickly stole him back and left, and in doing that, the ritual that they were trying to do was stopped, and Ferguson was the cult leader.
Interesting.
Yes, it's also very interesting because we saw that man change. He wasn't human. We shot him and then lit him on fire. The last thing I saw of him was lying down, crumpled up, burning, and we drove away. And then, like fucking magic, they all just disappeared. I searched all over Scotland for 20 years trying to find any trace of them, and it's like they never even fucking existed. And you're telling me our Captain Farrington, in less than a year ago, met with this man for a seance?
I say, chap, that's a bit of a tall story, is it not?
Did Dr. Pemberton like take some of her own drugs or something?
Well, she's just trying to like think
Super cheery.
of the. I'm just saying, like she's just trying to like see what's going on and just being in a bit of a cheery position. Like she had her salmon, she's very happy about her lunch. She just ate. Sometimes people are really happy after they have lunch.
You did not have
So,
salmon.
yeah.
You did not have salmon for lunch.
People
might have
can
had-
have salmon.
You
People
might have
can
had fish,
salmon
but
on
you
the-
didn't have salmon, man.
It could have been salmon.
Definitely not.
It might have been salmon.
Anyway, yes, she's very cheery.
Yes.
The point is, if Farrington is friends with Ferguson, who somehow is alive, Farrington can't be trusted. If Ferguson is alive and he's, it's actually friends with Farrington, then Farrington is either being tricked or lied to, or he's involved in some of the terrible things that Ferguson might also be involved in.
I think something happened to his wife. That was definite for sure. Sure and certain.
Well, from the letter I saw, which, by the way, is hidden away in some of the boxes that Farrington's traveling with, quite the library.
Do you suspect him of trying to do a resurrection of his family?
I don't know. The letter didn't really say anything about resurrect. Well, Ferguson seems to. Well, I definitely know he believes this. Ferguson was talking to Farrington about possible knowledge, magic. I don't know the details myself, but he seemed to be talking about things like to change fate, to go back in time and somehow mend mistakes or prevent future misfortune, gaining power to do incredible things. I don't know how true any of that is, but there's some truths to it. From what I've seen, I just can't believe he's still alive.
Does Lewis or Adam have any contribution to the conversation?
Sounds like something that the Hun would be interested in. I mean, you'd like to hope that our lads would be above this kind of thing, but I don't know. It's the officer class. I don't have much faith in them at all, and to hear that they're doing these kind of things, it doesn't really change my mind.
If it's truly Ferguson and the handwriting looks 20 years, it looks the same. If it's truly Ferguson, he was head of the police, head of a cult, working with Michael Thomas, who did such terrible things.
Do you think they're trying to get a hold of this before the Nazis do?
Fuck, I don't even want to know what fucking Nazis would want with that kind of power.
I do. More power. That's what they all want. But anyway,
Power like this, it's unholy. If you have any kind of faith at all, it's whatever it is, it's unholy. It's unnatural. It needs to be destroyed and forgotten.
I say, where did you get this information from?
He told you.
Yeah.
ignore
the
it.
crate.
Letter in the crate, yeah.
The letter in the
letter in
crate. Yeah, he told you.
Letter in the crate. Yeah.
Okay, now that we have all this information, go ahead.
Should we then maybe contact Captain Archer about this?
I don't think there's really anything Captain Archer can do about it. He's a merchant captain. Farrington's military. It's a bit of out of his jurisdiction, really, at this point. But we really need to know more of what Farrington is really after, and we're in an unfortunate position to be a bunch of privates who are miles and miles away from home.
Adam, you wanted to say something?
Well, Adam's like, okay, so we have all this information. You told me not to trust him. What else? What else do you have in mind? By the way, I'm sorry to derail this conversation. I am still trying to figure out what happened to their member.
Oh, the
Matt.
sailor.
Yeah, because, I mean, could he been tossed off? Sure, but I don't
feel like
like
he might be, the stormy weather, and it was at night, and maybe he was searching as well, and maybe he fell all overboard. That's what I'm thinking.
There could be any number of causes, especially with. I don't know a lot, but I do know enough that there's a lot out there that just escapes notice. Doesn't seem to follow any kind of natural laws or orders.
Shall we reconvene this evening and see what happens during the night? Because is that not when he was not quite himself?
He was drunk, if I recall.
Maybe, maybe he'll, if he's had, something to drink, he might be about, loose with his words.
I think maybe if we wait until we're on land at Gibraltar, and maybe then you can try, see if he'd be interested in sharing a glass or two, if he might be a bit more forthcoming then. But I think we don't want to chance anything too much while we're still at sea. We don't want anybody else going overboard, like.
So shall we monitor the situation this evening, just to make sure when it's, time for bed, that everybody is, where they should be.
Sounds like all we can do.
Yes.
pretty much, because I don't want to end up accidentally saying anything, so I'm just gonna hold tight.
So you choose to bide your time for the next 2 hours until at least you make dock, and then see kind of how things unfold, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, we're kind of powerless at the moment.
Sure. So uneasily, you just kind of bide your time, idling away the next couple hours on the ship. The time seems to drag on slowly, and presently you come to between the Straits of Gibraltar. You can see Spain to the north and Morocco to the south. At one point, there's only 14 kilometers between them. Shortly after that, you turn a bit northwards and head to the British port of Gibraltar, which is this peninsula that sticks out at the very edge of Spain. There is, of course, the Gibraltar Rock, which you'll be able to catch sight of first, which is this massive sort of rock, basically, sticking out of the peninsula. The place is swarming with troops and ships, and yours kind of comes into the massive port area and docks alongside several others from your group, and others that were in the group that continue on their way east. As the ship docks, there's a man in uniform standing there, and he has a jeep behind him, and Farrington approaches or gathers you all up. Well, we have some formalities we need to attend to first. Lieutenant Weston, I'm sure I can leave it up to you to find us a suitable domicile for the evening. Something comfortable, please. The rest of you, if you have any correspondence you want to send off to your loved ones, this would be an appropriate point to do so. Perhaps, Dr. Pemberton, perhaps you and Private Winston could take your letters to the postmaster. And while you are there, if you wouldn't mind, if you could ask if there are any communicados for myself. You would say communicados. Communications for himself. Any telegrams or letters.
Communicados.
Of course.
I was thinking.
I actually liked how you said that.
I was trying to think if he would like do it as a kind of jovial way or not, man. But yeah.
I actually liked how you said that. I was like, okay. Yeah, 'cause I understood. I was like, okay, yeah.
Private Barker, Private O'Doyle, if you wouldn't mind accompanying me to the Rock, I need to register our attendance.
Aye, sir.
They just walk down the ramp off the ship, and the guy in uniform that's standing there and he's saluting. He's like, Captain Farrington. He's like, yes, sir. So I am being assigned to you as your driver. He's like, excellent. Okay, men. Well, let's get in. So you all get in. Lieutenant Weston goes off his way to speak to whoever he needs to speak to, and you drive up to the Rock. And as you are driving there, finding, it seems quite a good mood. It's nice and bright, sunny. It's very warm, very pleasant. It's still a few hours before the evening kind of draws in. Yes, I'm hoping that we could perhaps get a chance to see the Gorman's Caves while we're here. Do you think that would be possible? Says the other man. The other man's like, oh yes, quite. I heard you were quite, you had the interest in history, and they are quite fascinating. They're over 40,000 years old, I'm told. Like, oh, rather. No, and they're talking about the historical and archaeological sites that are in Gibraltar. They then start to talk about the tunnels that have been dug. The British Army dug about 30 miles of tunnels inside the rock to use it as a natural fortification. And then when you pull up, that's where you pull up, and it'll be like a massive tunnel, or say massive, a big tunnel that you can like drive a car into, and you just like drive into there along a ways, and it'll be lit with, I don't think they had fluorescent lights in the 40s, so they're probably just like normal light bulbs every few paces down this interior driveway, until you just come to like a landing bay kind of area, and you stop. It says, well, this is us. You can find the postmaster in that direction, and he points you down one tunnel. And Captain Farrington, you'll find the officer's register this direction.
Are the tunnels like fairly lit, or is it any kind of dark at all?
These tunnels that you're going along will be well lit, because obviously.
Okay.
I can pull up a tile somewhere here, maybe. So I mean, some of them are very large. For vehicles, munitions, storage, there's a hospital, there's a bakery, barbers, mess halls, barracks. They can store enough supplies to last them for over a year in here, and there's a garrison of 16,000 soldiers. Pretty sizable. I can zoom out, position these better. Kind of give you some idea. So a lot of them will be single person tunnels, and they look just like a tunnel carved out of rock. There's nothing else to it except the lighting wires along it. Other ones will be like fully panelled to give them like extra protection and security, to keep supplies dry from dampness and such, keep out vermin and things like that. And then other ones will be wider still for vehicles and trolleys and stuff like that to go along. It's all highly organised, and there are many, many sections to it. So if Dr. Pemberton and Adam, are you guys going off to the postmaster with your letters?
Yep.
Yep.
And you guys, you accompany Captain Farrington. You go a long way, winding through these tunnels, following signs, asking for directions occasionally. You get to the point where he has to go and ascend levels. And you can see there are other ones that are going up in different directions, but the one he's going up to, and it says officers only, is, I actually didn't foresee this. My apologies, gentlemen. Perhaps we can reconvene in 30 minutes or so. If you'd like to take a trip with me to view the caves. If that kind of thing would interest you.
Yeah. I've never been out of Scotland or Ireland. I suppose seeing the caves would be nice.
Excellent.
Sir.
Shall we say, well, let's make it 45 minutes, shall we? I'll meet you in the mess hall. Jolly good. And he starts heading up the stairs. You just notice off to the left from where you're standing, there's another set of stairs that go down. That tunnel has some cabling, but none of the lights are turned on. And there's like a barrier across the entrance to it, and it says off limits. There are officers and people just kind of going to and fro, walking around past you as you're kind of like left standing here. So where would you guys like to go?
God, jeez, yeah, Kian's kind of just staring down the dark tunnel, but is like shaking his head, telling himself no.
Yeah.
Inviting me make me insight here, but yeah.
Come on, Keen. You don't want to get too fixated on that. You know, these. I've been around mining people all my life, and you know, you can if you stare too long into the darkness looks back into you. You know.
One of the guys walking past is just saying that, kind of steps up to you. Oh, trust me, lad, you don't want to be going down there anyway. They had to shut off the tunnel. There were too many accidents. Apparently, it's an old lava chamber. Just drops straight down into the earth.
I think I will nod and look alarmed.
I think Lewis's words kind of make Kian just kind of look at him like, yeah, you're probably right. Although sometimes the things in the darkness do a lot more than look into you.
Dr. Pemberton and... Sorry, on you go. You can finish.
No, I was just going to say, Kian doesn't say anything, it just kind of follows Louis wherever he goes.
So,
yeah, I think we'll
sorry.
probably make for like the shop or something, you know, go and like see if we can get some chocolate and cigarettes or something like that.
Sure, yeah. There's the quartermasters. And yeah, you've been able to apply your hand, maybe able to barter something for some.
Yeah.
There'll be a lot of... it's mostly British here, but there'll definitely be some Americans as well. So Gloria and Adam, you guys head off to the postmasters with your letters. So that'll now be your letters posted once you arrive there. So you arrive and it's just like a big desk is set up. There's all these stacks of letters and mail and sacks of it behind the clerk as you approach. And he's like, oh yes, how can I help you?
Yes, we're here to pick up some crates for...
Crates?
Okay.
Are you a postman, sir?
I used to be. Cargo. Yeah, we're to pick up cargo, right? Doctor?
You there, Laura?
Oh, just handing in my letters, and could I get a communication from Lieutenant Weston? Has there been any communication?
From a Lieutenant Weston? I'm not sure I'd be able to tell you that, ma'am.
I've been, you know, and I just show documents.
Yeah,
and stuff.
so you had your letter saying that you're with the special branch. Oh yes, there was actually a telegram sent in for the special branch. Who is your unit commander?
Captain Farragon.
Farrington, okay.
Farragon.
Yeah, so he'll take your letters and he'll say I'll get them sent off right away. And then he walks over to the little all the pigeonhole slots, and one of them has like a lock and key over a little door on it, and he opens it up. It takes out a little slip, and I'll put this in shared documents for you. So it is a sealed envelope about the size of a credit card. Well, not credit card, business card. So it's quite small, and it says Captain Farrington, urgent priority, special branch, special executive. Could I just have you sign here for it, ma'am?
Of course.
I sign for that, and he hands you over. It's like, is there anything else I can do for you today?
That'll be all for the moment. Thank you.
Have a nice day, ma'am. And you walk away, and you've got this telegram in this envelope which is sealed. What would you like to do?
I feel like she's quite honest person, even though it was like earlier, but I feel like she's quite honest that she just wouldn't. I don't think she'd, if for the fact that she signed it, she doesn't do anything like illegal. So
Okay.
Yeah.
What about you, Adam? Do you have anything to say?
No, I'm just following orders. I'm like, I wonder, but oh well.
So she is thinking whether she could steam the letter
Definitely
and
a possibility,
open it and steam it back like
Glue it back in. Yep.
glue it back in. I'm wondering where she could
No.
she could find a place that would do
No,
that.
I take the letter from her. Give me this.
This is a British base. It's full of kettles making tea. Steam would not be an issue.
Okay.
But now I take the dang letter. I'm like, stop.
I'm like, I have a strong hold. I'm British.
I'm black. No, I'm kidding.
Jeez. I mean, you guys have ownership over it now. You can do.
I have an
whatever you
idea.
want.
Let's go get a cup of tea.
Why are we getting a cup of tea?
Oh my God, you were so loud. Let's go get-
Oh, are we getting a cup of tea to like
Do you wink at me?
something?
You know what's bad about this? I can see your character doing that. Oh, we're gonna get a tea? Wank. It's like, oh my God.
Who is this woman?
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Okay, so we're going to the tea place,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, you'll be able to find one of those.
Okay,
no
here's what
problem.
happens. When I walk to the tea place, I trip and fall, and I rip it open.
So you go there to a place where you could steam it, so it doesn't look like you've ripped it open, and then you want to rip it open.
No, I trip and fall.
Yeah, but we want to steam it so that we can like glue it back together, not rip it, because ripping is like not good.
All right.
So let's get one of the ladies, the tea ladies, to steam it.
No.
I mean, getting someone else involved. If you're just doing it yourselves.
Okay, I will do it myself. Okay, like I just ask to like help in the kitchen.
No. Let's go get some tea and ask them for hot water.
Okay. Right. Okay, I'll ask for hot water.
I definitely think the British server will be like, but you've just got your tea. Why do you need hot water?
And some lemon in that. Hot butter and lemon.
Lemon?
Yeah.
She's clearly going to think you're foreign for having anything but butter, milk and sugar in it.
Yeah, but she's well travelled. I feel like her being a surgeon, she's well travelled. She has said that she's been.
Wait a minute, you got tea bags?
Of course they have tea bags.
No, I'm asking her.
We don't need tea bags. They have tea bags because we can get tea there and a jug of hot water. It's fine.
Fine.
But,
I'm gonna let you do it.
Am I to take it from all this that you're going to steam it yourself?
Yes.
Right, okay.
Yes.
So all I was going to say was if you're getting someone else involved, it'd probably be a roll because you got to convince them and all that kind of stuff. But if you're just doing it yourself, that's very easy to do. I do not think that would be a problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
In
Especially
that
because I'm
case-
quite dexterous and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
I
yeah,
feel
yeah.
like, yeah.
So I'm just going to make this telegram viewable to Laura and to Glenn.
And yeah.
You should be able to see telegram in shared documents.
That'd be funny. It's just says 1101 -- colon. I'm like, oh, you want us that hard?
They did not have binary at this point.
I'm like, we going that hard?
I just write it down, like the note down.
Sure, okay.
And I just let you because I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah, I'm not getting my fingerprints on it. Having steamed it open.
I feel like because I have it like shorthand, I can, because being a surgeon and, the medical shorthand, so yeah.
I'm pretty sure anyone who can write shorthand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not that you have to write shorthand, it's a very short message.
Prisoner in doctor?
Is that here? Prisoner held
Well,
at tennis?
since you're making a copy of it and writing it down, I will make it available for everyone. So that once you show it to them, they can see what it is.
Yeah,
Nice.
but not at the moment.
Not right this second.
Yeah.
Right, okay. So you steam it open, and now you're left with the problem of gluing it.
Okay. I just ask one of the
You could just go to the
Ladies?
quartermaster who deals
Yeah.
with supplies, and there'll be a person
Yeah.
there. And if you just ask for glue, that is easily
yeah.
gotten.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's how I do.
Yep, they give you a little glue pot with a little brush, and you brush it back and seal it up.
See,
Victimless crime.
all is well that ends well. Could I get a bottle of? I have a specific tonic that I need to get. It's basically a tonic that means that people can't drink alcohol. It like discourages them from drinking.
I'm
alcohol.
sure you would know the actual term for it, so you can roll 2 dice. Action roll. That's the humanly possible in the occupation.
Is that other actions? Yeah.
Yes. Ooh, do you want to re-roll with the insight?
Does that give me the 2 rolls and the insight?
You
yeah.
do, yeah. You do the same
yeah.
roll, but you add the insight dice. Oh man.
Oh,
Okay. Do you want to do that roll again? You can do this as many times as you want.
Is that if I've got insight, which is good. Yeah, I'll roll again.
Wait, what are we doing now?
She's just trying to get a hold of this tonic. Okay, there you go. I need you to make an insight roll though,
Oh, why?
because you had the insight one there. Oh no, wait, sorry, you re-rolled it, so it doesn't matter actually. I'll just take this. You can put that back down.
Yeah.
Bum, bum. Bum, 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 bum.
Yeah, because if you actually do you get to re-roll it if it does that? No, that's right. The insight does count. I'll do it. So you're up at 3.
Okay, that's
So-
that's fair.
I'm going to say you get the tonic that you wanted, just as requested. That's perfectly fine. But as you're kind of making the request, there's a light bulb goes off in your head, and you're like,
Mm-hmm.
it makes sense that Weston, doesn't want the captain to get drunk on duty and all that kind of thing. But surely Weston has seen this before. Why doesn't he just talk to the captain about it?
Yeah. And why would he want them to get the tonic? Because isn't it that if he's loose, then we can get the information.
Well, he doesn't know that you want to get information from him.
Yeah.
But you're just thinking back to your interactions with Weston and the kind of the oddness about him, the way like he stands, the way he looks, and like there's just something a little off about him. Even the way that he approached you in your cabin, I mean, he's very cordial and all the rest of it, but there's just something a little creepy about it.
Yeah.
And it just kind of, something about it just doesn't sit right with you.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, he's such an upstanding member of the British Army, and he's supposed to be, he comes across as wanting to, like, uphold rank and, you know, order, discipline, etiquette and all that kind of thing. But then he's also asking you to drug the captain, and that seems very off to you.
Yeah. I'm in a sort of quandary.
But you do get a hold of it, that's no problem.
Yeah. Maybe I just need to consult with the others and see what they think.
Sure. Do you want to go looking for the others after you've done this?
Yes. Yeah, I think that's.
Alright, so you just know that Farrington was heading off to report in, so you ask them directions. They point you in direction that you're supposed to go. You get to the same spot that the others were at the bottom of the stairs. You see the same dark tunnel off to the side with the no entry sign, and you see the sign pointing up to the officers only section. Where did Cian and Lewis go off to, if anywhere, or are you still hanging around the same area?
Ian's just kind of sticking close to Lewis. So wherever he goes, Cian will follow.
Yeah, I was thinking to probably just look for a shop or somewhere where I can like buy stuff.
Is there anything particular you're after, or are you just looking for, you know, cigarettes and chocolate and stuff like that?
Probably just like anything that could maybe be later bartered. I mean, I'm kind of thinking ahead a little bit that, you know, if we're going into Tunisia, that, you know, there might be things that I could buy, like kind of British goods that might be more desirable over there. So I'm trying to think maybe, you know, what would be desirable. Probably like the basic things would be like cigarettes and chocolate maybe, but
okay, so why don't you give me a roll with the 2 dice then? The action roll.
Is that occupational expertise again?
Yes, yeah. If it's 2 dice, it'll be that, and you're normal human run.
Ah, okay.
You just rolled 1 again. You need to tick like both of them to roll both of them at the same time.
Oh, I see. Alright, I didn't realize you could do that. I thought you had to do them separately, right?
No.
Sorry.
Okay, I mean, you can name exactly what it is you're after. If you want it to just be anything like cigarettes and a barter item, you can just call it that. But if there's anything particular you want with the 6, you can definitely get it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what would be something that they would want in Tunisia. I'm trying to, like, for some reason, you know, I always have it in mind that like the thing that it seemed like everybody was looking for in the Second World War was nylons. I don't know why. Like everybody seems to have this thing where it's like almost like another currency.
For the ladies, yes.
Yeah. I mean, I guess maybe I could take like cigarettes, chocolate, and nylons or something. Yeah, let's just say nylons. I say that's probably like the hardest thing to get, I guess.
Cigarettes are definitely a universal barter item. That just doesn't change. I don't think in that case there's any need for an insight roll, because I don't think there's anything to be kind of triggered there.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything you would trigger there or hear about there that would cause for that. So as you're like standing in a stall and you're like, you know, making underhand dealings with the guy, and he's like giving you stuff that's literally like under the counter, Gloria and Adam kind of walk around the corner looking for you.
We're back.
So
So how was your adventure?
Not really much.
mercifully uneventful.
Well, we have a little something, and I just say to them like.
And I just straight up cover her mouth. I'm like, not in the public. All right.
Let's shuffle, you know, do the shuffle, you know, the corner.
I guess she wants to dance. I don't know.
I'm picturing you doing like shuffle, and you've got this little card between your fingers.
And then I just showed them
Your notes, yeah.
Yeah, and I hinted that it was for a Farrington.
Farrington.
Farrington. Yeah, I can say that.
Well,
What do you think?
That changes things. I mean, Farrington did tell us we were going to go visit a prisoner. Letter in his folders mentioned, actually gave the prisoner's name, but
What do you think prisoner and doctor mean?
I think it's meant to be more in doctor quarantine.
Mm.
Because the prisoner was held at a hospital. That doesn't make sense either. Farrington mentioned that the prisoner was covered in burns and had healed at like an incredible speed. What killed him? Fuck, this whole thing is such a mess.
Ooh, are we going on a cave tour?
Oh yeah, Farrington said that he was interested in going around the caves. I think we were supposed to meet him in 45 minutes, I believe.
Yeah, let's.
So, is there anything you want to do for the next 40 minutes or so? Or half hour, however long it's taken? Or do you just want to go hang about and wait for Farrington?
Well, if we're going on the cave tour, do you think they'll give us torches, or do we have to buy our own?
It's the army. They give you everything you need.
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
So, I mean, even just talking around, you would find out that the entire population of Gibraltar have been evacuated to Great Britain previously. It is only military personnel in Gibraltar. Because the few times they did let some of the Spanish in, they started blowing up munitions. In fact, you'll probably hear that just a few days before you arrived, a saboteur infiltrated and managed to blow up one of the ammunition dumps. But, yep, after a time, Farrington will present himself, and he looks quite pleased, he looks chipper. And he is, there you all are. Dr. Pemberton, was there any messages for myself?
Yes, there was. And I just hand him the letter.
Okay, excellent. Oh, he opens it and frowns. Huh. Well, that'd
Okay.
be quite disappointing, actually. I'm afraid, gentlemen, lady, that it seems perhaps we will not be able to perform the interrogation as I had hoped.
Something wrong, sir?
If this communication is right, although it's written rather oddly, the way it's phrased, it seems like the prisoner we were to interrogate is deceased.
Oh,
These.
Well, that would be incredibly disappointing. Oh well, we shall ruminate on it later, I suppose. I'm going to take the corporal's offer up for a tour of the caves, if any of you would care to join me. I've heard they're of great archaeological significance.
It would seem a shame not to take the opportunity when we're here, sir.
yes,
Yeah.
definitely. Adam?
Yeah, I'm already there.
Okay, so you leave. The guy that drove you here is in his jeep still hanging around. When you arrive, he offers to take you around. He explains that there are 4 main limestone caves on the other side of the rock, facing outward. And apparently there are Neanderthal paintings, murals, etchings in these caves, and they estimate they are tens of thousands of years old. They're, I think, one of only like 3 sites in Europe where this has been discovered. So yes, it's quite a rare and special thing. So you take the car around as far as you can go, and then you have to dismount and walk on foot around the end of the rock over all the rocks of the shoreline in order to get to the caves. Yes, and as he explains, the one you're going to, this is Gorham's Cave. And this is the main one where you can see some of the the etchings and such. Kieran, you get that horrible, creepy feeling that you get anytime you get near a dark place.
Yeah. Even though, I don't actually hear it, in my mind, the memory of that horrible sound plays. But I definitely lag behind everybody else, but I enter.
You notice as well, Weston is not shown up yet. He's still absent. The captain seems again in good spirits, despite the reading the news, and you get the feeling that he's just excited to see this site. And he starts going on about other finds that have been found across Europe, these ancient structures, and what other things could be hidden. If so few things in this time period are found, and man's history goes on much further than that, what else could there be to be found? For any of you that are not super into history, you might find some of the displays within the cave underwhelming. There's like some just lines scratched in the rock. He shows you this, what just looks like a bunch of black markings. Just you can't really make out much of a pattern to it, but you're explained that this is actually handprints that have deteriorated over time. But with close examination, they've determined, and he kind of tries to show you the outline of where the hands would be. And he describes how these were performed in other caves where it's easier to see because of the pigment they used, where they would place their hand on the wall and then apparently blow dust over it to give the outline shape of a hand. But he allows, he says it's a large cave. Try not to go too far. There's some areas that we think might not have been opened up yet. A lot of standing silt builds up inside and can create what appears to be a solid wall, but maybe like a hollow facade. But obviously, archaeological digs and exploration has been put to a halt while the war is underway. So finding just kind of porters around, he's looking up and down at the walls and such. What about the rest of you?
Yeah, doing the same and just monitoring the situation.
Are you just looking around, not bothering too much, or are you watching the captain, or are you watching the others? What's your angle on it?
My angle on it is watching
Farringdon.
Farringdon, yeah. And also I'm quite interested in that because my mom was an archaeologist, so there is that, there is that peak interest. So yeah.
Okay, yeah, you might even have heard of the cave before because it was quite a significant find. What about the rest of you?
I think it would be interested, just coming from that kind of background, also maybe slightly unsettled by kind of being back underground again when I've basically kind of spent all my days trying not to end up underground.
Yeah, I'll get you to roll with something in a sec. What about Keane and Adam?
Yeah, I think Keane's kind of staring at one of the black handprints and just kind of not touching it with his own hand, but kind of holding his hand kind of near it, just kind of comparing the two, and just kind of briefly having a moment of wow, just think about it, several thousand years ago, another human being was standing here, and just, it kind of has this moment of it's kind of interesting being, it feels like I'm a part of history just being here.
And what about you, Adam?
I'm just surveying because I'm what is there to say?
Is this a suspicious surveying, or are you just on edge, or what? Are you just quite calm in the moment?
Having a moment.
Alright, so you're not too bothered. Lewis, if I could get you to roll 2 dice for me, because obviously you have a background in mining.
So is that insight or other actions? Investigate?
Other actions. Oh no, sorry, it would be investigate. I mean, it's not going to matter. It's going to roll 2d6 anyway.
Sure. So yeah, just 2. Okay.
Yeah, the human possibly win in your occupation. Yeah, you're like going on, and obviously you have family experience, shared knowledge, generational knowledge of mines, subterranean structures. You've heard about gas pockets, unstable supports, all the kind of things to look for, you know, fractures about to give way, how to track veins and all that kind of stuff. And you go a bit deeper into the cave than everyone else seems to be kind of comfortable with, and you find yourself in like a kind of twisting, small, dark section, just kind of like wrapping the wall instinctively to make sure that it's solid, and it's not going to, and the floor as well to make sure it's not going to give way. And you rat tat tat on kind of one, and like it is solid, and digging at it with your nails, it kind of peels off, and you see that this isn't a solid wall here at all. This is like a hole that's been sealed up with like sand.
Oh man.
I think I would be a bit concerned about that. Do I notice anything like kind of in the sand at all, like, or behind it?
You would have to dig through it with your hands, which is sand. You should be able to do.
I think with a bit of hesitation, I will have a look in the sand, just kind of digging through it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you're only doing enough, like handfuls at a time, kind of thing, just so you can like look through it. You don't want to like pull it all open yet.
Yeah.
It might not be worthwhile. And you pull through, and with the light and the flashlight that you've got, you can see that it is a sizable chamber on the other side. I forget how you ping this. Bottom right, I did the image anyway. Yes, this is a cave that clearly no one has managed to get into yet, that they haven't noticed before. And swiveling your flashlight around at a limited angle that you can hear, you can see that there are other paintings on the wall here, much more developed than the rubbings and the etchings in the section you've been in already.
Can I see them in reasonable detail without getting close, or would I have to go right in to get a good look at them?
You'd have to widen the angle that you're able to look through at least, if you didn't want to go all the way in.
Yeah, okay. I'll try doing that then. I guess I'll maybe like just kind of dig the gap a little wider so I can get a better look.
I'm now thinking, did I even download that image?
It says scrawled on the wall, image.exe not found.
Just an ancient advert for Raid Shadow Legends.
Fuck, bang, how did I look at my past collections? Images. No?
Scrawled
Do
on the...
I notice anything from Farrington?
I mean, he just seems involved. And for a moment, he's kind of doing what Keen's doing, like comparing his hand to the shape of it and probably trying to align it to see how it fits. Yeah, but I mean, he starts exclaiming about, you know, how strange it is to think that there was like other species of hominids other than our own, because these are Neanderthal etchings in paintings. And that they actually had some kind of intelligence, obviously, that they were able to do this. They weren't just animals, they were like actually a form of people, although different from our own. Okay, I definitely didn't download this. Give me a second. Why did they do this stupid GIF format now as well? So you can see a series of handprints. Ignore the fact that one is like massive there. That's just the AI did that in every single rendition.
Oh. I was about to say, one of these doesn't belong here.
So either imagine the snake image is a lot smaller, or the hand is not as big.
Okay.
Fair enough.
And if any of the hands have extra fingers, you could probably discount that as well.
Yeah, there's a couple.
It is hard to get AI to do fucking hands.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yes, but there's like a large, like fairly developed image of a snake right across one of the walls, and amongst all these handprints that are kind of structured around it.
I think I'll not have much context for what it could be at this point, but I'm kind of reckoning that this seems possibly significant, or at least interesting. I might try and make like a quick pencil sketch of it just so that I can describe it to the others later.
You will recall also that Adam is a photographer with a camera.
Of course, yeah. Yeah, okay, I'll kind of note where this is, and I'll maybe come back and like mention it to Adam if he wants to take a picture.
And I do that.
You can. You're a photographer with a camera.
Yep.
Yep, so he leads you around, he shows you the hole in the sand wall that opens up into this other cave, and as you kind of poke your head in, you can see what he's talking about with the flashlight, and you would be able to get your camera angled so you can take some pictures of it.
Alright, take.
Snap, 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 and that goes into your roll of film with the other pictures you've taken so far.
I also snapped the black hand that you said also.
Yep. So the other one, like I say, they tell you it's a black hand. I mean, it's so degraded that I didn't even bother downloading a picture of it because it's hard to make out anything.
Well,
And imagine in person it kind of feels the same way, but yeah, you can totally take pictures of that.
Alright, do it.
So Farrington has another conversation with Corporal, and he's talking about ancient cultures, the type of peoples that would have been living here more recently than these paintings in this cave, obviously, but prior to the Moors and such, and the Mediterranean peoples that travelled around and how far they might have travelled, and inevitably they kind of talk around the tale of Atlantis and how much merit that such a thing might actually have. And the Corporal is like, it's an interesting folklore tale, but obviously there's no scientific evidence for anything like that. And the captain is a little more insistent, saying, well, there's a lot that we don't know, and we're always discovering new things all the time. These people's travelled much further than we ever thought possible, and who's to say that such a thing could not have existed? It's obviously a sort of pet fantasy of his. But is there anything else that anyone wants to do?
I think I'd be kind of curious about the lines on the walls. Like, I think he might try to, like, step back and see if he can form some sort of larger picture from it.
Okay, sure. What about the rest of you? Does Gloria have anything? I mean, you're just watching Fang then, yes?
Looking for anything else
Yeah.
to take a picture of, just in case.
Yeah, I mean...
Is there anything like, like my mom would have discussed as, that I could, say as like, if there's anything that I think that looks really
when you roll a
ancient.
dice, you can do
Okay.
investigation rolling with the 1 dice. This is just you drawing on your mother's knowledge, or things she might say to you. Because she probably would have mentioned this at some point. It's just whether you recall and whether it has any kind of relevance. Yeah, you remember her mentioning the cave, talking about the Neanderthal discoveries. You remember that it was somewhere in Spain. It might not actually have been this site that she was talking about, because she was talking about red handprints, which doesn't seem to be here in this cave. But yeah, and you're kind of looking around, trying to see if there are the red ones that she'd mentioned before, because she said they were very clearly outlined, and you don't seem to see that in these caves. But you think, well, maybe it was a different one that she was mentioning.
Yeah.
But as you're looking around for that, Lewis and Adam come out from a dark corner.
Where have you two been?
Picture taken.
Ah, nice.
You find
Anything
anything?
good?
That was some more drawings around the corner.
Mhm.
Oh. Anything of interest?
That's more handprints. There's kind of what looks like a snake maybe, and it's unusual. They're more a reddish color than the one here.
Ah, my My mother mentioned handprints, red handprints in a cave.
I mean, if you go in a corner, Gloria, you can look through the hole yourself and be able to see those. But you can't ever remember your mother mentioning anything about a snake.
There was no mention about a snake though. Yeah, maybe I just forgot it. Yeah. I don't recall.
As the three of you are coming out of that little tunnel, you can hear very loudly Lieutenant Weston's voice at the mouth of the cave. Captain Farrington? Captain Farrington? And Captain comes out. Weston, what are you doing here? I've managed to procure us somewhere to stay for the evening. Luxurious as you requested. He's like, oh, excellent. Well then, I think we've seen enough of the caves for today, don't you chaps? Perhaps we should settle in for the night.
Aye, sir. Sounds fair.
Yes, sounds good.
So you guys leave the cave behind and head back, walk along the beach to the motor car. And then from the motor car, you're going to be taken uptown to your home for the night. You can see it was a bed and breakfast or a small hotel. But as said, everyone's been evacuated, Militry's taken over. So he's managed to secure it as your domicile for the night. You're each given, you can choose any room within the small hotel that you want. I'm going to say there's probably only like 10 rooms in it anyway.
Probably a room with a window.
Well, all the rooms will have windows.
Oh, okay.
That's definitely. They all have windows, fans, probably an ensuite.
Yeah.
Cupboard space, writing table, everything you'd expect in a hotel for this sort of time period. And it's done in this sort of Spanish sort of architectural style. There's like red curtains and kind of gold and yellow carpets throughout. And it's a typical sort of like mid to late 1930s kind of design for all the lamps and seating and stuff like that. So it's a little dated, but not too much. And of course, each of you will have your own room.
Would we have our own like firearms included with our stuff, or like with us at all?
So yes, you would definitely be able to access firearms for yourselves. Normally, they're issued a rifle. I was saying before, I think more likely you guys would have like a sidearm because you're not obviously like, on the front line. But I mean, you may well have a rifle. But I think for like the situation you're in just now, although you could have a sidearm on if you wanted, I don't think you'd be like walking around with a weapon necessarily.
No. Okay, that's right.
Because you would check in at the quartermaster and they would give you it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So I'm just saying, Kian did not do that. So I was just trying to figure out how likely it would be that he would have a gun.
It's perfectly likely. I mean, you're in, probably not, maybe not in the rock itself, but I mean, you would have been able to requisition one if you wanted to. So that's, okay. And you could do that on the way back to the hotel if you wanted.
Okay.
So if anyone wants to go out and get a weapon before you settle in for the night, you can do that, but you'll need to tell me.
I hear the smile.
Okay. M1 Grant.
Okay, so you want to go and get a rifle, not just a handgun.
Yeah.
Obviously, the rifle is very noticeable.
Well, I would just like to have a handgun, I think.
Well, I just tell them like, we never leave our weapons behind, so sorry. If this just makes you uncomfortable.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they actually had a policy about when you could have weapons, but I would assume you, if you wanted one, you could have one.
And two, we're kind of in war, so it's like...
Yeah, but it is like a military base. I don't know if you like just walking in a military base with a weapon on you all the time. But I'm going to assume because you guys are a special branch and that kind of thing, it'd be a little different for you, and if you wanted a weapon, you could have it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you can have the rifle, but everyone in your unit's going to know that you've got the rifle because that's obvious. it's not something you can hide.
I know. So I know that my little place is not going to be snuck in.
Okay, so you and the doctor have a weapon. What about Lewis? Does he want to arm himself?
I don't think I would bother. I feel like, with this being an army base, and it's, I don't think I have any reason to suspect that there would be a situation because I know you were saying about the someone attempting sabotage, but even taking that into account, I don't think I would feel like I needed one at this point.
Yeah, there are 20,000 soldiers around you.
Yeah, exactly.
I think Kane's
For
in the
me,
same boat.
I think for me, it's protection. Being a woman.
For you, you
so-
just need to
Yeah,
have
that
everything.
makes sense. Yeah.
No,
If it's a consideration for anyone, the captain and the lieutenant will definitely both have pistols
Oh, that's comforting.
that you will be able to see, because they're officers.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're expected to be armed all the time, but they would have that on them all the time.
Yeah, I would
Kind of like a
expect
badge
that.
of rank, isn't it?
It can be. So can be having a sword or a dagger as well.
No, I think Kian's in the same boat as Lewis. I as much as the player, would love for Kian to sleep with a gun under his pillow, I don't think Kian would bother getting one.
Yeah, no, either answer perfectly fine. That's two of them plus. Are you keeping your weapon, or are you trying to keep your weapon sort of hidden in the Gloria?
Oh yeah, because I don't want to really.
Okay,
kind
so
of-
you'd have snuck off to requisition it at some point without anyone noticing.
Yeah,
Okay, or at least try to. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I think that's acceptable. You could also just say you're going on lady business. I don't think the guys would ask in that time period.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. So the hotel, it will be. It's not going to be staffed. There is a bar, but the bar is all locked up. All the cabinets, the storage room, caskets downstairs. There will be a pub or a bar open in the town that you can go and visit at night if you wanted to go and have a drink socially. And Farringdon will invite you all to go for a drink come evening.
Yeah, Kian will attend, I guess.
Yeah, I guess again it would seem probably more suspicious not to go than to go. So.
I unload the gun, I hit it, and I go down and meet him for a drink.
Yes, sticking in the room.
Yeah.
Going to Gloria.
I go as well. Yeah.
Weston stands, waiting to the last minute to kind of volunteer to go, and he's like, "Of course, sir. I'd be delighted. I'd be honoured to take a drink with you." So you head down the street, around a couple of corners, and you can hear the soldiers singing, playing piano, and quite loudly as you approach. And there's a whole bunch of British soldiers, and they're just getting wasted because obviously people will be on leave at certain points, and able to just kind of enjoy themselves and let their hair down. So there's, it's a warm evening. It is the middle of winter, but for anyone from Britain, it's warm. It'll get much cooler come night time, but it's still going to be pretty comfortable. So you just take a table on the outside of the bar, the pub, which is out in the street, and arrange yourselves around the table. And Farringdon orders a round of drinks for you all. And a half bottle of scotch for himself. At this point, Dr. Pemberton, you get some looks from Weston, and as he's kind of pulling your chair out for you, he leans in against you. Did you secure the tonic, Doctor?
I couldn't today, but I will get it to you.
Well, thank you for trying. And he slides your chair in for you, a little too sharply for your comfort. He takes his seat across from the captain as the rest of you sit down. So, how are we all feeling about our little joint? I'm afraid there's not been much. Well, we've had a modicum of excitement, I suppose, and unfortunately, not fully without tragedy.
Yeah, I'm just appreciative to be on solid ground again.
Yes, I must say so myself. I'm not a fan of all the rocking and throwing. And I'm sure the good lieutenant here feels better he's on solid ground. Eh, Weston? And Weston just kind of gives a half smile. Like,
Are you at all concerned about the prisoner being killed or apparently deceased?
Well-
Seems awful strange, especially after what you've told me.
Well, given that is something I wanted to talk to you about. Given the extent of his injuries, as was reported, I suppose it's not surprising that he succumbed to them eventually. We obviously don't know how much of the reports we heard previously, how much of it was actually accurate. So it's not wholly unexpected, just rather disappointing. I am a little confused about the phrasing of the message. It's a little strange, but I suppose that's perhaps to be expected. Nevertheless, if the body's been held, we can have the good doctor examine him, and perhaps from there we can deduce something useful. There is, of course, the matter of what he was doing and what they were looking for there, which is really at the heart of the matter. And him being alive or not makes it more difficult, but doesn't completely sever that course of inquiry.
So long as we're not heading down there just to find that we've got to turn and come back again.
Yes, that would be most disappointing. And he takes a drink. Weston is giving him a frown as he's drinking. Weston is kind of sat back and hasn't touched his drink.
There's something you're celebrating, Captain Farrington. You seem to be, drinking rather heavily today, and now the night before. And
Well, I'm sure a man of your origins, Mr. O'Doyle, can appreciate one's savouring of the finest. Takes another drink. Don't think there's anything wrong with enjoying a stiff drink now and again.
now and again, but it's just you seem almost determined to lose yourself there.
Yes, Captain, you looked very peaked this morning. Should you be drinking so much when you had taken a little bit of a dizzy spell?
He stretches one arm out across the table a little bit, which is a little odd, towards you. Kind of looks at it for a second, then he looks up at you. Mrs. Pemberton, if I wish to have a drink, I will have a drink. I am glad for your concern, but I can assure you that everything is fine.
Any thoughts about the tunnels that we visited? The caves?
My mother, she had said that she had seen markings like that before with the hands, but she had never mentioned anything about a snake.
Snake, says Farrington. And Weston turns his head as if he's curious as well.
Yeah, I don't think Kian actually saw the snake either, so.
What snake?
There were some more drawings down in one of the little side chambers. It was something a bit like a snake and some more handprints.
Gosh darn it, man, why didn't you tell me?
Sorry, sir, we seem to be in such a rush.
Ah, well that is disappointing. I doubt we'll have time in the morning. Oh, this is most disappointing. I can't believe you didn't say.
I think it was of no interest. It was just a snake and on the hands. I don't think that was that interesting, to be honest.
Not that interesting, Mrs. Pemberton. You, of all people, should know, given your mother's background. Such a discovery, monumental. There's no official mention of what you are saying you saw. That must be a new discovery. Can you believe this, Weston? Weston's just giving you all a like long stare. And he turns quite calmly to Fanged and says, "Well, sir,
Just
if it's been discovered now, I'm sure you can see it later."
well, I think the good thing about it, Adam, did you take a photo of it?
Yeah, but we're gonna need a place to develop. I mean, out of character. Is there a way to develop it right now, or?
I mean, this is a British military base. There's definitely going to be somewhere for developing film because they had photographers all over the place.
Okay, so back to my character. Yeah, but I'm gonna have to develop it. So.
Well, there you go.
Do I need to go right now, or?
Well, damn it, man. Yes! And he like drinks another drink.
And I run there. I'm like, all right, going.
If I can't see it myself in person before we leave, I definitely want to see a photograph.
Yep, going to get it developed.
You just running off on your own?
The hell do you mean by that?
I'm just asking if you're running off on your own.
No, I don't like how you said that. No, you shouldn't have said it like that.
Well, I mean, it's, you know, the evening's drawing in, it's getting dark.
Yeah, you're like, you're gonna run away in a cold, dark winter and night. I'm like,
you don't have your
no.
rifle.
Yeah.
You know what? I
Did you
stopped.
take Louis
I
with
timed
you?
paragraphs. I'm like, never mind, it's dark.
Well, we can't be having that, man. Someone will go with you. Barker.
All right.
I'll go.
Yes,
All right,
take
let's
Barker
go.
with you.
Awesome.
Are they even going to be available this late at night?
Oh, good point, Mr. Doyle. Hang on a second, and he like pulls out his notepad and he writes a little note for you and signs it. You just give them this, and they'll give you access to whatever you need.
Okay, thank you.
And looking at the note, you can see he's just scribbled something about the Spectral Executive Branch operation needing access to a dark room.
Makes sense to me.
So the motor car's there that you drove up in, so you can jump in that and drive down to the rock and probably approach the quartermaster and ask him where the developing room would be.
Yes. Sir, where's the development room? I have pictures.
At this time of night?
I need to do them fast. I mean, I can.
Well, he looks at the notes. He's like, oh, well, surely well then, I suppose. And he gives you directions down one of the tunnels to where the developing room can be.
Down the tunnels, left and right.
Two of you make your way down there. The place has, I mean, it's well lit, but there's definitely a different vibe to it at night because it's much colder, although deep within the rock, you know, there's not a lot of heat kind of being retained. The wind, when it blows, kind of like blows through the tunnels, and it makes a kind of spooky whistling sort of sound. I mean, when you get to the dark room itself, there is nobody else there.
So I stop. I'm like, look, you can either leave right now, but once this door closes, you can't leave.
Is that for developing in the dark room?
Yes.
Oh sure. Yeah. Oh well, I'll come in and wait with.
So how come when
Wait, so
he
you-
says something like that, it's not spooky, but when I see it, it's...
Because you're
when this
God,
door
dude.
closes,
You're like,
you can't leave.
Sure. It's how you said it. Into your control.
So you just go into the dark room, I mean, put on the red light, and you close the door. Probably lock it so no one can just like walk in accidentally and disturb it.
Yep.
You take out the roll of your film and, you know, get to work. The rest of you are sat outside this bar, and the captain is steadily making his way through his whiskey. He's not going hard at it, but you know, he's at a steady pace. And he lights up his pipe and he's sitting leaned back in his chair, just clearly sort of enjoying the dulling ambience of the whiskey on his senses.
So, Captain, where are you from, if you don't mind me asking?
Originally Lancashire, my good man.
And not so, oh jeez, the words just completely left my brain there. No, what about more recently?
takes a draw his pipe, breathes out. I'm not sure what you mean, Private.
Well, you said originally, are you no longer living there?
Well, no, since joining the army a few years ago. Obviously, I've been moved around quite a bit.
Have you ever been to Edinburgh?
No, as I was saying to Mrs. Pemberton before, I haven't had the opportunity. I hear it's a lovely city, though.
Well, it's very lovely. It's very, very kind people there as well.
Well, given present company, I'm sure that's true. Did you enjoy your time there, Mr. O'Doyle?
For a time. Obviously, you know a little bit more about my time towards the end there.
Of course, yes. Frightening business. Yes, I can imagine such experience may leave a sour note on the place.
Yeah, it's
What
certainly.
happened?
Jesus Christ.
Suddenly Keen's hit with a train wreck of a fucking question.
Quite a number of things. Bad people
What?
doing awful things.
What did they do?
Murder, ritualistic sacrifices. Supposedly, pledging services to dark and unholy powers. If you believe in such things.
The captain leans forward in a little bit of intervention to try and save face for you here. Yes, Mr. O'Donnell had an unfortunate series of events while he was in Edinburgh. And indeed other locations in Scotland, I believe. But that's the very reason why he's here as our expert. Do you not realise, Miss Pemberton, that you read your mother's transcript of what occurred?
Did you know my mother? I'm directing that at Kane.
Kid, yeah. I think Kid's like, shit, how the fuck did I get to be interrogated? Fucking Farrington. No, yeah, Kean'll, definitely caught, his little interrogation sort of backfiring. Kean'll kind of just go, briefly, I didn't know her for very long.
Oh. When was that?
About 20 years ago, give or take.
Oh. Do you know anything about the disappearance of my father?
Kid's gonna lie and say no.
Oh. So you didn't know the disappearance of my father? Well, so you knew her before then. Did you know my father?
No, I don't. I didn't know her for very long.
Oh. Did you work at the university at any point?
No, but her her knowledge of ancient history and such helps me and a few others discover clues.
Oh, she helped you in that investigation.
Yeah.
Oh,
Deciphering old languages and pictures and things that I don't understand.
Oh, she must have been. She was in doing a number of investigations that she had told me when my father had passed. But maybe she had done investigations beforehand. Yeah, it's very. The timeline is very confusing. But yeah. Oh, do you think I'm like my mother?
I don't think I've known you very long to make that judgment?
Well, my mother has her. She's got, you know, she's had a lot of not so good times, and some good times. She's working through it, but I think being being away from Edinburgh University and being in a different part of the part of Britain has rejuvenated her, and yeah, we don't visit Edinburgh very much.
Yes, it's most unfortunate about your mother. Had she been in a better state of mind and more fit, I would have liked to ask her to have accompanied us on this journey.
Yes, there are some questions that I as well need, when I am back, that need answered.
You guys in the dark room. Now, do you remember everything you took a picture of up to this point, Adam? There was, of course, the fish on the deck.
Damn, I thought I was still in the dark room.
Yeah, you're in the dark room. I'm just asking you, do you remember what it was you took pictures of up to this point?
Oh, I took a picture of a friend of mine. Took a picture. Did I take a picture of the 2 dead bodies? I don't think so.
I mean, we can see you did if you think you would have. That makes sense.
Nah, no, I haven't.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
took a picture. Huh?
I remember you take a picture of the fish, but that was the only
Yeah.
thing I remember.
Yeah, the fish. That's right, fish. Took a picture of.
I mean, you've been on the ship for a couple of days. Were there other things you were taking pictures of? Maybe that we just didn't mention.
Yeah, all I remember is take a picture of the friend of mine and taking pictures of the fish that was on the ship.
Okay, so I mean, plus the cave. So I mean, that's not going to be like a full roll. So would you have taken pictures of people going about their business, the shoreline when you're leaving, other ships, anything like that? Just like
Oh,
everything?
I wasn't. Oh, that's right. I took a picture of the captain at the time
Archer.
when he was like, yeah, he was like, no pictures. I was like, sorry. That one I remember too, because I remember taking pictures of. I took a picture of them.
Okay, so these
Yeah.
pictures that you remember, that they start coming through as you're doing your film, and then another picture starts coming through, and it's a picture of all of the rest of the group. It's Farrington, Weston, Kian, Lewis, Gloria, and standing behind them all with his arms around the shoulders of Farrington and Gloria is Marcel, smiling.
I did pick that picture. No.
And then you start to
Alright.
develop the pictures of the cave paintings that you saw earlier today. And you can see the ones of the etchings at the front and the black markings that didn't really look like a hand, that you were told was a hand. And then you're developing the one that's of the part with the snake. But you don't see a snake on the wall and handprints on the wall around it. They're just a large image of something to Lewis's eyes seems kind of smudged and out of focus, but for you it gives you a creeping sense of realization. Can you make an investigation roll? Sorry, can you make an insight roll?
Sword of Omens.
So you're going to roleplay your fear as you realise the shadowy image overlaid in the rock face in the picture in front of you is the same as the creature that you once saw in a basement in Italy.
Oh, Lord in heaven. Yeah, he stumbles back. So that's what it is.
Adam, are you alright, man?
Wait, you were in there?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think we were both in the dark room, were we not?
yeah.
All right. I'm like, look.
It just looks like a blur to me.
That's the thing I saw. You can't see it?
I'm sorry, man. It just looks like it's indistinct. I can't make out.
And that's where we're going to end now.
Oh,
That's not ominous at all.
I feel
Oh.
I feel as if Goose's character, like Louis, has been like comforting everybody, hasn't he? He's like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?"
But he just always seems to be there.
Yeah. Yeah. Tough
Dude.
Just
times.
trying to look out for everyone.
Yeah, you're there for the tough
Ferguson's
times.
alive. Fucking Ferguson's alive. No. God, that letter has so many horrible implications in it. I don't like it.
I
It
actually
was a
thought,
really good session.
I actually thought
really
we'd get
enjoyed
to Tunis today, but yeah.
Oh,
Oh jeez. Yeah, and sorry to get about that. My delay. Like she called me right as soon as like I was getting ready to click the join the voice chat thing, and yeah.
It's fine. But yes,
It's
we
so-
will continue again next week.
Awesome.
Yep. I think like the whole like I definitely think there's something creepy about the Weston guy compared to Faddington, because like I thought Faddington was like quite creepy, but I think like Weston is a lot more creepier.
But then you thought Weston was creepier at the start, and then you thought
Yeah.
Farrington was the creepy one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's weird.
Almost
Yeah.
like I'm
Now it's
keeping you
just trying
guessing.
to. Yeah. It's almost as if it's a mystery or something.
it's like
An
they're both
investigation.
creepy, but in different ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out their involvement with what things, and oh man.
I feel like Weston doesn't want him to get drunk so that he's like, loose
Slipped.
lips. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
But it could just be
Could
concerned
just
about
be
his
yeah.
commanded officer being unruly and stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, Wednesday, you're gonna be playing Hero 4?
I do hear quest tomorrow, yeah.
Yeah, I may not be there.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I'll do my best. Usually I'm awake by time the game starts, or if not like right as the game starts. So
Yeah.
might be a bit late, but you know.
So what were your thoughts, Gus? What did you take from it, this session?
Yeah, I mean, originally I would have thought that Weston might be kind of on the level, but I mean now I don't know. I feel like maybe they're both him and the captain are up to something, but maybe separately. I feel like maybe they have different agendas.
Yeah. It's a good assumption at least.
I felt like you were
I could be
quite
wrong.
shocked. I was gonna say I felt like you were quite shocked, weren't you, Glenn, when you saw something in the photo?
Yeah.
And it was like, what's in the photo?
Yeah, I was
What
fully
did you
expecting.
see?
I was fully expecting like whenever you were talking about Marcel having their hand, I thought you were gonna like describe some sort of monster or something with their hands across their shoulders. Like, what the fuck?
I was waiting on it being like, we remember the photo being taken, but Marcel wasn't there.
Oh yeah, fucking.
Well, I mean,
False Hydra type
I
shit.
don't think it's too meta to say if you aren't shown the photograph, though, you don't ever remember posing for that photograph.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I don't think we did take a photo, did we?
You definitely did not.
Nope.
Yeah. That's bizarre.
Interesting that it's Marcel and
I'm
not.
just thinking of the letters when we were in the house, that
Yeah.
time. I'm just thinking of that with like this is a photo of the future. Maybe it's a photo of the past or something. It's like time travel.
I definitely keep staring at the telegram because fucking everybody keeps mentioning how it's worded weirdly, and I'm just like, yeah, it kind of is, but I'm staring at it. What's wrong with it?
Did you feel like you got the house vibes, as in with like the letters from the previous Cthulhu game?
Yeah, I'm curious to see how that's going to tie in. It feels like that's definitely going to influence what's happening to us going forward. I'm just curious to see how that's going to come up.
Slim, if you have the chance, like if you listen to like the previous one about the previous series about like the house and the letters, yeah.
Yeah. By the way, that list, I practically watched half of all of that.
Oh, have you? Oh, nice.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
now
actually, do you still have that like Finley radio recording? Because
Yeah.
I can't. Okay.
Bye.
I kind of remember like what he said, but I can't remember exactly everything that Finley had said.
He's played that like so many times.
Yes, I had played. Right, I'm gonna play it right now.
Yeah, fair enough.
Dude, we need to go right now. We can deal with that later. Right now, we just need to get away from him.
Okay, so yeah, that was like right after Kian ate the heart and forgot all about it and was trying to figure out like what the fuck's going on.
Yeah, and he was like, "We need to
Okay.
go now."
Yeah.
Was
okay.
that a bit unnerving for you, Goose?
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that to come up again.
Yeah.
Well, now it's came out 20 times, so you've been used to it.
Yeah.
I'm a meme.
Yeah.
Right, I'm going to head off because
Yeah,
I
for
have
sure.
work at 8 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, I have
Yes,
to
the
get
whole
up at
9
7.
hours away.
So, yeah,
Right.
yeah. So, night, everyone. Good game.
Yeah.
Speak to you next week. Bye.
Yeah,
Definitely.
catch you later.